us pay attention and be still. Help us do the things you prompt us to, and help us learn from you.
Does anybody have a question from what was taught yesterday? Okay, so this silence means that nobody has any question. Okay, so it means that I can ask randomly about things we taught yesterday and people will answer now. Really? So let's go over it again. Do you have a question from what was taught yesterday? Something, let me just say something about these sessions we're having. It's meant to be a very practical session. This is not a session where we're just answering questions and you just answer them for the sake of answering. It's meant to be very, very practical. As you can see, it's for 3 days. So we want people to ask real questions. Having gone through what was said yesterday, if you have a question, if there is something you feel that maybe there are areas where you struggle with certain things that Pastor highlighted yesterday, then you can note it down, and so that these questions can be addressed. So there could be challenges you have. It could be like the question that said, "Do you have a timetable?" And remember, Pastor really laid the emphasis on the people who are most especially workers amongst us, or who are business people, or who are on their own, who do things on their own. And Pastor stressed the fact that he would really like to be sure that these people have a workable timetable. So if you have these things as challenges, it's important that you write these things out so that it can be addressed. Do not leave this meeting without asking these questions. Do not leave this meeting without discussing these things. We need to. It's important. God wouldn't have us have a meeting and we just come and attend and then nothing, and we don't, even if we don't understand things, we just keep it and not share it. So there were many things Pastor talked about. He talked about things about how to bake, how to boil, and all that. And then just bringing those things into our present day, how to apply these things, Well, without wasting time, we will start with, we will continue, and we stopped at number 14 yesterday, which was, in what ways do you seek opportunities to use your skills and resources to give back to the community or support the work of the kingdom? So for today, we will start from financial life. So we're going to do it just like we did it yesterday. Be very snappy, fast about it. Write, put the answers, and then we just we continue. Okay, so the first question there says, do you regularly plan and create budgets for your finances? Do you regularly plan and create budgets for your finances? Remember, we're starting financial life. That's the heading. So the first question is under financial life. So do you regularly plan and create budgets for your finances? Remember, it's a yes or no answer. You put it yes if you do. Number 2, what is your regular financial state? Are you usually broke? You usually broke, or you always rich, or would you say you are financially comfortable or stable? Number 3, do you give to God's kingdom and the people around you? Do you give to God's kingdom and the people around you? Do you save what you do not? Okay, number 4 is, do you save what you do not need? Do you save what you do not need? You save what you do not need. Like, number 4, do you save what you do not need? It's fine. Okay. I hope we've all written it down. So just to run through again, do you regularly plan and create budgets for your finances? What is your regular financial state? Are you usually broke? Do you give to God's kingdom and the people around you? Do you save what you do not need? Then we'll move to the next subheading, which is communication. The first question there says, do you speak clearly and plainly to the understanding of others when talking to them? You speak clearly and plainly to the understanding of others when talking to them. Number 2 says, do you wait your turn to talk or do you interrupt others in a conversation? Do you butt into conversations or do you wait and allow the person who is talking to land and then you now make your point? Or are you someone who is just given to interrupting just while the conversation is going on? Number 3, do you use polite language and show respect when talking to others? Did we get that? Where should I start from? Number 2. Okay. Do you wait your turn to talk or do you interrupt others? No, this is number 2 for communication. So let's start it again. Communication. Do you speak clearly and plainly to the understanding of others when talking to them? Did we get that? Okay. So number 2, do you wait your turn or talk? Do you wait your turn to talk or do you interrupt others? Number 3, do you use polite language and show respect when talking to others? Do you use polite language and show respect when talking to others? Number 4, do you try to be on time for appointments and events? You try to be on time for appointments and events. Number 5, how do you handle feedback or criticism from others? For that particular question, remember it's something that you might write more than a line or two or three, so you can keep space and so that you can explain. But remember, it's just a summary of how you handle these things. Remember, how do you handle feedback or criticism from others? When you got this, Number 6, how do you respectfully resolve conflicts? How do you respectfully resolve conflicts?
But they're not bad enough.
Yes, he said up. Number 7, do you say thank you? Do you say thank you and appreciate what others do for you? Respectfully resolve conflicts. So when you have an issue with people, when you have a problem with someone and it leads to a disagreement, or you have this cause for exchange of words or something, how do you resolve it? You do it peacefully. You know how to do it peacefully, you know? Or would you just keep quiet and walk away and choose not to resolve it and leave it like that? So number 7 said, do you say thank you and appreciate what others do for you? Are we done? We done with that? Number 7. You didn't get number 7. You didn't hear what I asked. How do you say thank you and appreciate what others do for you? So we'll move to the next one, which is dressing. So I just want to make I would like to make a few comments about this one. Okay, well let me read the question first, and then I'll make a few comments so that when you're answering, it will help you answer properly. The question says, do you know what it means to dress for the occasion? Do you know what it means to dress for the occasion? So if we are having a wedding, for instance, do you know what it means to dress? If they said, oh, we're having a wedding in church tomorrow, do you know what it means to dress for the occasion? Or if we say, oh, we're having a program in church, do you know what it means, to dress for the occasion? I know that, we've heard it said many times, especially when messages are put on the wall regarding testimonies, people coming out to give testimonies. I hope you always see that it's stated clearly that you should dress properly. Who has never seen it before? Or who has not heard it said before that you should dress properly? Okay, so you are meant to dress properly. So this question, as you're answering it, think deeply, think about it, and answer it properly. Sometimes you see, I know some of us, when we're coming for program, people wear Crocs, and you just wear Crocs, and you tend to just, you're actually coming for a church meeting, but you just dress like it doesn't really matter. You wear Crocs, or put on button your shirt, or just what you look, what you would say on scruffy. So this question is dress that. Okay, good. So that's why we're saying, do you know what it means to dress for the occasion? So no, we're not saying dress to kill. We're not saying dress to kill, we're saying dress for the occasion.
Don't have what the occasion demands. How about if you know how to dress for the occasion, but you don't have what is demanded? For instance, a cocktail party, and you know that you're going for a cocktail, but you don't have the dress. So, do you abstain because you don't have what it takes?
Okay, so your question is, or ask again, since Pastor.
So, I'm asking, the question is, do you know what it means to dress for the occasion? How about yes, you know what it means to dress for the occasion, but you don't have what the occasion demands? What do you do?
So you don't have what the occasion demands, but you know how to dress for the occasion. So what don't you have? You don't have. If you gave the first time you asked the question, you said if it's a cocktail party. So how come? Or you don't have what? You don't have the suit, you don't have the tie, or you don't have the shoe. But you at least have some basic things. You could dress. So remember when I explained it initially, I said that you're meant to dress neatly, you're meant to dress decently. And I told you that normally I talked about people wearing Crocs and unbuttoning their shirts and just looking casual and a bit untidy. I said that, remember? So the question here is meant to address all those things. Now, if you had an occasion and you don't have everything to dress for it, or you don't have, let's say, a cocktail party, you don't have the suit, or you don't have the tie, or you don't have all those things, you would at least have some things that you could wear and you're still neat and presentable. So that question, do you know what it means to dress for the occasion? Keep some spaces because you would. Well, it's a yes or no answer.
Good evening. While I am pulling out my notes, I'd like to weigh in on that last question. How you're invited to a cocktail at all. This is an enemy action. How you are invited to a cocktail at all when you cannot afford it. I do not understand. You send a text message to the person that invited you and say, what is it? Allow the pot to breathe. What is a cocktail? if it's even a real cocktail, I think basic dress, you need a jacket. Who came up with the cocktail thing, you or him? You used the phrase cocktail. Okay. So would you imply this person does not have a black jacket? What do you think you need to wear for a cocktail? A tux, a jacket, a trouser and a belt, and a pair of shoes. Okay, so this hypothetical brother does not have. What does he have? What does he not have? So what does he not have? Doesn't have a jacket. I guess he could borrow such a scenario. You can find a close brother that has his size, or he could trust lot. But really, in the first, for me, if there was a formal thing, I simply wouldn't go. Why must you go for a cocktail party? What for? Is someone's wedding, a business? Okay, so maybe you'd like to go and rub shoulders with people that may patronize your business. Hmm. You trust the Lord for a cheap one. I would suggest everybody have a basic okay. Can I ask, have we finished everything? Communication, we've gone through all of that. Okay. I know I want to come back some, especially the financial life. Okay. I think I would suggest that brother, or every brother here, especially if you're done with school, but even if you're not done with tertiary education, I think everyone should have a black jacket. One. And you can buy, I'm sure, a second-hand one for cheap. Not to cost, you can save. It's a good thing to have. One jacket, either navy blue or black, deep blue or black, not a light color. You know, some people, and these are things, if you haven't been through the fast seminar, anyone here, let me see your hand. I haven't gone through the fast seminar series. You haven't gone through the one on financial prudence, even if you listen to others. Financial prudence. Okay, so take that as an integral part of this series of meetings. It's a must that you listen to it. A lot of what we would say here has already been said in that seminar series from 2018 or 19, 18, from 2018. So listen to it, and you'll be wise to have listened to it. So dressing, I would suggest every male has at least a jacket, deep blue or black. It should be a goal you have. If you're not careful, you probably could buy one for 5,000 naira in some market, in some setting, in some search, effort-driven search. There are things like that. And the second thing, the main thing about having a black jacket is not having it, or at least a top, a jacket. Even if it doesn't have to be matching, you just have to have a jacket that fits you. Not perfect, but that fits you. The hands are not too long, and it's not too short. Just a median between above your wrist, the watch line, and here. If you have something 2 inches range, you'll be fine. But I was saying that the more important thing is not having it, the more important thing is maintaining it. So there are most people destroy their jackets. That's what they do. They wreck it. They spoil it. They wear it all the time. They are not they are prideful fellows. Some of you are, you know yourself. I don't know you, but I'm sure you're here. You want to have something nice, you wear it all the time. You only want to look a certain way all the time. So when the cocktail shows up, your jacket is faded. You have worn it for normal meetings, Sunday meetings, every Sunday. There's a time not to do things like that. There are pastors who have in offerings, they have church members who give 1 million naira as an offering on Sunday. They have church members. There are churches where maybe the offering for a month, and I'm being modest for some of these Pentecostal mega churches. Their offering in a month might be just, you can do the estimate yourself, about 100 million naira to 200 million naira. Then you look at a pastor sitting over that kind of income and his jackets and say, I'll be like that. Is your head correct? What is your income? 20,000. And it's not enough for feeding. And you're making comparisons. You don't make comparisons. You don't go around trying to look dapper and good looking all the time. That pastor doesn't even need to buy a jacket. Maybe people are buying it for him. Don't compare yourself. So you have a jacket. This is my counsel. Keep your jackets for special occasions. Someone is having a wedding. You need to dress a certain way. Someone is having a they invited you to MC something, to moderate a special occasion, not in your church group, not your youth group. Don't go pull out your jacket because you're moderating your youth group. It's a sign you are vain. You're a vain person. I'm utterly serious here. That jacket is for special occasions. There's nothing wrong with wearing it once a year or twice. There's a time for everything. Except you're still growing taller. Then you better wear it before you upgrade. If you're a male, you're around 18, 19, 20, you might keep growing taller till about 25, 22, 24, 25. So, but if you've hit that, you're not growing anywhere. You might only grow wideways. That's not English, but wider. You might grow sideways. But if you get married, after a while, you might start adding weight after a year or 2 or 3, depending on your circumstances and your age. Then you say, oh, this jacket will become too tight. But with jacket, it's okay. Even a tight jacket is not too bad. But the basics, have a jacket. Black or navy blue. Not white. Not light brown. Not, you're too poor to wear light colored things. When you have money, they say go and buy trousers. That you don't even have trousers, you only have jeans. You don't go and buy khaki brown. You buy black. You buy deep blue. If you buy brown, you buy deep brown. So that it carries you. Again, go and listen to the fast seminar. Too many people, the circumstances of their life. One person has, let's say, in a year, young people don't understand. In a year, maybe 200,000 naira pass through your hands. You think it's much? It's not. You eat that amount. 200,000 pass through your hands. One person can look neat and proper and dress well, and so on. Another person, 400,000 may have passed through their hands. They look tattered and everything because of no planning. No, you just don't know how to, and in a sense, it may not be your fault. It's what you grew up seeing. The fast seminar addressed that extensively. For many hours, I spoke about how you can have little, be neat, look correct, You can have one pair of shoes. You know you're going to have one pair of shoes for a while. Buy a good one. Buy good, not beautiful, but solid, real leather. Buy one of solid stuff, whether it's plastic, whatever it is, that you will wear and wear and wear. Not something that the air, the weather, the wind blows too hard, it peels because it looks nice. Not blue. How dare you buy colored shoes? One color for you, black only, black polish, not brown, black at a certain income level, only black, not black or brown. No, no brown. What if you get a job? You gonna wear brown shoes to any kind of job? You will not. You only after you have a black, then you may have a brown. Blue, wait first. Wait first till you're 30 something years old or you are rolling in money presently. Aha. Then you can have blue shoes, red shoes, white shoes. I'll suggest you wait till you have a car before you buy the white. Stop looking at people on TV and saying, I want to look like. You have no business thinking of looking like them. Those people walk on carpets everywhere they go. They stay in air conditioning. They can stay for ages without their feet touching sand. Their shoes don't touch sand. Your shoes touch sand every day. You go and buy white shoes. I'm not just saying it to tease you or to pull your legs. I mean it. People, you have to think. The hairstyle you carry, everything I talk about in fast. The hairstyle, you carry a hairstyle that ting, ting, sharp like the edge of a knife. In what condition? You have to maintain it. You're cutting your hair every week. At what age? How much are you earning? People, there's too much lack of sense or no sense at all in too many people's action. They are not thinking through. They're just saying, well, it's okay. I just want stroll here, just cut hair. When you ought to be carrying a hairstyle that carries you one cut a month, one a month, one a month. Again, there are people, they don't think of these things. You don't consider the cost of the haircut and what you could do if you saved the cost of 2 haircuts or 3, that you could buy shirts, that you could have something. You have to be deliberate. It's intentional. This touches on the financial. All right. So, but the question here was only, do you know what it means to dress for the occasion? I'm going to leave that. I left it and jumped to financial stuff. But
Okay, so I need a clarity on what is a jacket is. My concept of a jacket is.
Keep your concept, whatever your concept, keep it. Don't worry. Don't ask a question like that. When you leave here, talk to your father, your mother, or your younger brother. What's the concept of a jacket?
I wanted to be sure
said
if
you
it's
shouldn't
a
ask.
suit.
I'll not answer it. Don't sleep during meetings. If it's a suit, after I clearly said only the top, then anything can go. Who heard me say it? Is he asking if she wears short sleeves? What are you asking? If my concept of jacket is a jacket. A vest. A vest. No, sir. A jacket is what you call a suit. But a suit is actually up and down. A jacket is just the upper part. So everything I've been saying so far, you've been seeing all sorts of colors of. Who is handling this projector? You have to be, once in a while, just, if we talk about something, you can find a picture, a jacket. Just give a jacket. Now I'm scared. Give a jacket. Give a jacket. I apologize for not listening earlier. I thought you wanted to come up with, is it Ankara jacket? Is it? Wait. Okay. No one here is wearing a jacket. It's not. Nobody came straight from our office. A jacket is what we call a suit. What you call a coat. A coat. You call a coat, call a jacket. It's the same thing. Nothing fancy, nothing with style. None of that. There's a stage of life. You don't buy, well, I like the one with leather in the. Okay, you may not be given any duty. Fine and good. So if you know somehow you've positioned your life to, all this I'm saying, dependent on your pocket. But if you know that circumstances you don't really, you shouldn't be at the time in life, you're trying to manage, to pay rent, to survive, then be careful how you make every decision. I need a black or navy blue jacket. Buy one and forget about buying any more jackets for the next 3 years. If you're wearing to go to work, that means, and your office they say, dress like this all the time. That means you need 2 or 3, even though they are just paying you 40,000 naira. You don't go buying a new one. You don't go buying a new jacket. Many of you do not know, again, it's a lot of error in the mind, that people used to borrow jackets from people to have their wedding. There's a generation, your mind works very different, that people borrowed a jacket from someone to wear for their wedding on their wedding day. Their own wedding. After the wedding, they went and returned the jacket. Thank you very much. White people did that. Black people have done that. Nigerians and others. But you see someone, you're not marrying, it's not your wedding. You say, no, I can never. Full of pride and poverty mixed. Poverty does not go well with pride. If you check it, poverty does not go well with pride. People that are proud tend to suffer very much when they are poor. Their own suffering is very much. Have a little money, they are doing funny things. All right, so what does it mean to dress for the occasion? It means to dress. There's a range. It's not fixed. It's a range of clothes. I think the question people should be asking is, what of this kind of occasion? How should I dress? Did that discussion happen? That's what you should be asking. What can someone wear for this kind of thing? Or I had this, I wore this for something. Is it okay? But it's none of what this dressing thing. Dressing is not a big deal in what makes a husband. Are you hearing me? Huh? Because of how the weather had been, I asked them to buy me some sleeveless t-shirts. I don't know what they told the person that ended up buying something for me. Simple, light things to wear in the house. But they bought one sleeveless one, four with sleeves. So I wore the sleeveless one, and it looks yuppie. And I put on the shirt I wore yesterday on top of it, unbuttoned. I was stepping out of my room to go and eat, before coming here yesterday around whatever time that was. And my wife saw me, and I showed her that it's sleeveless, and it's written there. It's written there, just eat it, or something funny like that, Okay, so and I know I was looking yuppie and all that. My wife had this smile on her face. Small, I wanted to say, I mean, this is the kind of husband I wanted to marry. Finally, after 15 years of marriage, I've come up to your taste. She couldn't hide it. Unfortunately, some of you you can't wait. You can't wait 15 years later to impress your wife. From before you marry, but you have not eaten well. I have not eaten well. Dress for the occasion. In this setting, I would be interested in discussing dressing for the occasion. I'll be interested in discussing dressing for the occasion to the extent that it touches on courting. That's That's the extent to which I'll be interested in discussing dressing for the occasion as it affects courting. It does matter that it matters that females are attracted to a neat guy, a clean guy. If you are extra lousy, I don't know why you would be. I'm not saying we marry, of course, you know me. We don't marry just for dress. And there's one video, if you remind me, we could find it. There's one video I saw. Someone sent me, I saw it somewhere, and the man was combining clothes. One black man with his sons, combining colors that you wouldn't think would match. Something like blue like this with brown, khaki and all that. This is a jacket, okay? Just basic. Suit jacket. Is that me? That's you. A jacket is a jacket. A road suit jacket, which is for Nigerians. Or you wrote suit jacket. So that's a jacket. So that's just a jacket. Okay. Scroll up a bit. This is the kind I say you should not buy. Don't pull any stunt like this. Don't do this. Don't do maroon. Don't do any of that. Don't do the light brown as your first jacket based on under the financial planning. Okay. All right. Take it away. Don't do light gray. No. Don't do any of that. Except you have maybe just you've already had one black, one deep blue, something brownish or gray, like that. You add, and that's if the old one is not fading. But have some basics. 2 black, 2 dark. Yeah. So where was I was making mention of the great need. So dressing well is very vital. Important thing is that you are neat. There are people all over this room right now dressed neatly, all over, in casual, semi-casual. There's barely formal. There's a formal, traditional, and all that. But there's a basic neatness that you should have. You're wearing a t-shirt. Then there's lousy. The attitude is that I don't care. Try and look as lousy as you like. Don't be in your house. You can wear a t-shirt that touches your toes. A t-shirt that is like a dress. You can dress like that. But when you are outside, when you're coming out to a public place, a church meeting, you're going for simple, have some basic, just ordinary. Again, you can't accuse me of being fashion-minded. You don't have to dwell on something to do it. All that. Again, I laugh at people. I've worn shirts that are big. See people, they get a shirt, they go and sew it, hurry and sew it. I can't remember doing a thing like that, going to narrow it. But except it's too big, you could, fine, if that's what you want to do. But the certain basic things, and I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying maybe in our time it wasn't a big deal. You wear a shirt, it don't have to be tight. What if you grew up in it and all that? It doesn't have to be all tight. But you can just be just there, just neat. Don't be big. Now this series of meetings, I'm not emphasizing spiritual things because that's all I do. These many years, I've emphasized spiritual things, spiritual development of people, male and female. Guys, I've emphasized your internal state. We are able, by the grace of God, to. So let's say, Charles, now your thing is not button. Your button missing? Oh wow, that would be a good example. Stand up while you're still button. So his shirt was not button. I guess he was rushing ahead. Let them see you. So what he's wearing now, okay, it's okay, like that, but you need to button it. So that's what I mean by it. That's in the realm of don't be tattered. There are times you're talking, there are times you don't have to talk. It's not an absolute must. I don't like guys holding the neck of their shirt all the time, especially in certain settings. Why? It's going to get dirty, frayed, and to tear. Then you'll be wearing a tattered neck shirt. Go wear tattered neck shirt because you can't afford to. But why are you dressing like that? Because you're trying to look extra cool at the risk of looking tattered in the next 6 to 8 months. In 8 months, you'll be tattered, but for a short while, you looked extra cool. I would rather spread it out and look medium cool for 2 years. Do you understand? Now, this is my reasoning. There are people that don't agree. They go from one extreme. There are the guys that eat chicken when there's food, and then they sip Gary. Sit down. They sip Gary for the rest. Now, if you were to unbutton his shirt and show his t-shirt and walk around like that, basic things. Again, fast seminars should cover nearly everything. And if not for that, I'm going to talk about like wearing a t-shirt under, bright red under with the shirt on top. These things are unscriptural. They are not sins. But what I'm discussing in this series is what are the simple things you can do with limited resource, limited time, limited access, limited opportunity, limits that life and society places on you. And also, how can you be someone that will be more acceptable after you marry? Now, you don't start preparing to be a husband after you marry. You prepare before. That's why we're having these meetings. That's why we are talking. You prepare beforehand. Beforehand, you act and talk and behave and discuss a certain way. You love, you give, you help, you assist all you can. Because when you marry, you have to love and give and assist. Your wife, you're going to have to assist and help. Your family, your children, it may be your wife's family, your own family, your community. You're going to have to be a blessing. If you, again, using that simple example, if you always have to buy new shirts every 6 months, every 1 year, because it's so dirty, you have to scrub it, you constantly be that person who has the ability to say, I would have helped, but I don't have money. For some of you that only, you constantly think, no, I would do things, except I don't have. Always ask yourself, why can't I help more? Why can't I give more? Why can't I serve more? Why can't I? Then zoom in on that thing that prevents it. Track it. You may have to follow 1 to 5 steps to find the why. Ask for input from others. Ask them, say, how are you able to manage this small money you have? And they'll tell you, well, I barely spend money on detergent. How do you do that? Again, the first seminar talked about it. Oh, when I wear a shirt like this and I go back home, I don't bond it, keep it in the room or do anyhow. Or I'll wash it immediately. I wore it once. It was fresh, a clean shirt. I wore it once. When I go back, while I am wearing it, I do my best not to sweat too profusely. Some people, in every moment you live, you max it out. You max out every moment you live in. Does anybody understand what I'm saying? You're walking. If I'm walking and I'm not late, I won't walk too fast, so I won't sweat too hard. Because the more you sweat, the more the shirt is afflicted by dirt. Yes? So I'm going to try to limit my sweat output. And what is that? By not exerting myself too much, running, not doing anyhow. Sweat is connected to exertion. So I would think about it and I will pace things. That's one. Two, when I go back home, I won't wear that shirt and walk around the house, wait for the next 2 hours again, 3, wait and enter the kitchen. No, I would take it off immediately, put it on a hanger and air it out. Hopefully where air can touch it, inside or outside. At the end of it, especially if it's day, night, it can still help. But if you sniff it, there will be no smell. Why is there no smell? Some people, there must be smell. Why? Because they lather cream as though they are a model for a lotion company. Guys, oh, why? Why do they do that? Because that's what their mother used to do to them. Their auntie. They will rub cream all over their body. So they've grown up. They are like, this is what everybody on earth does. No, it's not. It's what some girls, most girls do. You don't need that amount of lotion. But you soak yourself with lotion. So you sweat out and soak. I had a class, a roommate. I was in my final year. He was in his first year. And the young man would sweat. My God. The amount of sweat output that guy made, I suspect. How do I explain this? He poured. There's nobody I know that sweats like that. And anybody I've seen, maybe he sweats like 5 times the most sweaty person I've ever known. He oozed. He just poured. And he'll be his clothes will be soaked completely as though he entered a stream. Normal. This is just, and he's plump and all of that. And one day, and the smell, I could smell him before he enters the room. My nose is a bit sensitive. From a distance, I don't need to see him. I know he's there from a distance. And one day, I don't know how he did, but I saw he came out of the bathroom one day and he was getting ready, and it was Pierce, baby. He lathered it, brap, brap. And I went like, oh, this fellow. No wonder it's a sweat factory. How he did not connect it, I do not know. You must learn to connect things. All right, so all of that affects. So think, now if you sweat like that, you wash like that, you buy detergent like that, you buy detergent like that and wash like that, you buy new clothes like that. Now I know different people, different bodies, different physiology. So there are some things you can't change, but there are things you can influence. But you must think about it. Is this thinking about that most young men don't do? So it's like, well, God knows, God will visit me. And God is looking and saying, your ignorance, my people perish from lack of knowledge. Have you read that before? It's a very real thing. Not having knowledge has consequence. And I'm adjuring all of you to think things through. I want the young men in this congregation, I hope in the future we have more such meetings. Go and listen to the first seminar and decide in this world that you will try and do things that will help you. You will do things that will assist you. You will do things that will help you keep money in your pocket, help you save more, so you can not pile more. I keep saying it, not to stash more, but so you can and give more. You can have more. You can't have if all goes on you. And you may say all goes on me because, talked about white clothes, wearing white. It may make you look sharp. It makes people look sharp. If I find any video of me preaching and I'm wearing white shirt, white makes you look sharp and cool, especially if it's buttoned and with a tie. Even if you're not wearing a jacket on top, it makes you look really crisp. Do you know why? It makes you look rich. It makes you look settled. It makes you look wealthy. Why? Because the rich people of this world do that. They can afford it. You must know your circumstances. And even if you're very rich, you should still think it through. How much more when you can't? Then you go shopping in the market, just pick 5 white shirts. Why? You don't even have a car. And even if you did, is there air conditioning on all the time? You don't you don't live a certain way as a child. You want to save money. You want to be able to be. I said to be a good husband. Let me tell you how some of you think. You think I'll be a good husband. All I need to is make sure I take my wife out once a week. Make sure I do this. Make sure I do this. Make sure I do that. Doesn't mean you're a good husband. You may make the woman happy, but when the quarrel will come, it will still come. Doesn't matter how much you went up. All of you that have read and listened to American and Nigerian spiritual gibberish. If you like, I always tell you, if you like, believe. If you like, don't believe. When the time comes, you will believe. Oh, no. For a woman, it's very easy. If you're not serious. There's nothing easy about it. You should Solomon had 1,000. He told you something. Listen to it. To be a good husband, you should primarily have the ability to provide. The Bible talks about the man providing for his household. Providing for his household. The making husband. Now, I'm pausing the question and answer session. So when I finish here, because I'll need to go up and join another meeting, and our brother here will continue, I'm going to pause and just exhort some more on the husband, okay? Is this good? You must have your priorities. Yesterday, I told you some things. It's in your notebook. I said, first of all, you need what? The favor of the king, yes? I gave you some ways the king can favor you. Tell me quickly. You can look at your notebook if you don't have it offhand. How can you get the king's favor? Yes? I didn't hear you. His sovereignty can show you pure speech, yes? Diligence in your workplace, you favor with the king, a pure speech, huh? Asking, requesting, prayer. Or someone asking for you, someone, a mediator, an intercessor, someone being a go-between. Yes, those things can attract favor on you. How many is that? 5? I think I gave you 6. All was up. Oh dear. Okay, so a good part of that was off the top of my head. Let me give you a bit more. Genesis 4 tells you that Abel brought the best parts of some of the first. Abel brought Genesis 4:4. It says he brought the best parts of some, the best portions of some of the firstborn of his flock. And the Lord looked with favor on Abel and his offering. Yesterday I talked about honoring the Lord by giving. Do you remember? That's all. Now this attract. He looked with favor. What resulted in favor coming on Abel? His offering. His honorable offering, not his dishonorable. And I said this yesterday, that why some men and even some women are more blessed than their men in terms of provision is that the men oftentimes, in the name of whatever, because, I've told you, the mental construct, men think it through more. And in the process, they think up sometimes an excuse to be selfish. It's very common. The chances of a female, a female could have, I'm giving real examples now. I won't make it real. Real will be too much for some of your brains, but let me use fictitious. Let me tone it down. A female could have this sudden, let me use examples from our congregation. A female, something could happen, and maybe this preacher preaches a message, and I preach a message about how God is, what God is saying is going to do something impressive. God is going to prove that he can give, and that this and that and that. You'll see. Rare thing. Rare. I don't talk about money barely at all. But I say that, and I say, Father, prove it to them. Prove it to them. Amen. That meeting ends. Out of the blues, some sister gets 300,000 naira. Or 1 million. Again, I'm using a fictitious example. I have bigger examples, but I'll use a much smaller one. 300,000 naira. That sister, again, maybe in the name of there's a way females can be, could take 50% of that money and give to the Lord, 150,000 or 200,000, and say, I had said, God, if you do this, I'll do this. Or God, if you prove it to me, or give 100,000 or something. A guy, typically, I'm talking about what is almost like normal. A guy could give 10% from that, and that is it. That's it. I'm not saying he owes to give more, but I'm talking about now a few. I've also seen guys that they are few. There are more females that are open-handed. And you've heard me many times talk about how females take their car and give, and the husband goes and collects it back, their husband's car, and all that. I've talked about the gullibility of women. I've talked about how women, you've heard me talk about it many, many times, about how women can just do things, and how the Bible warns that the best way for people to operate is the husband and the wife in making decisions. But I've also spoken about how the females, God knows that they are more inclined to believe. 1 Timothy 2:8, it says the men should lift up holy hands without wrath or doubting. Unbelief. Women tend to believe more, and sometimes they can overbelieve what they shouldn't believe. Men tend to doubt more, and they can overdoubt. So men should know their weakness. You're inclined already to be a selfish creature. So you tend to have less of certain favors from God, because God looks favorably on certain things. Abel gave up the best portions. A man would typically look and give some of the least. I've seen it with relatives. I've seen it. You see a woman just have this attitude. Oh, I'm going to. You see the man. Wait. You know, I can't just do. And then the man keeps being poor, keeps struggling. Then the woman seems to have these favors and all that. Has anyone else ever noticed anything like what I'm saying? Because men, again, I hope everybody here at least knows me. At least 90% of you've heard me for years. You know, I am the most radical anti-greed money preacher. Preach against greed, and all the deception going on in the church of God. But must you declare yourself the one that God shall not favor? I know what I know. And in spite of that, I've tried to give. So I've known all those radical messages I've preached against greed, against your head being used. All those times I've said, go and buy something for yourself, go and enjoy it. All those times I've said that. I've not said it because I go around life spending money on myself, splurging. No, I've said it from a place of understanding for 20-something years, a very long time, that I'm to serve with what I have. I don't run around spending money on things, on myself. Rather, I hold money as a custodian. So the point I've tried to make, I made yesterday, and I'm reinforcing today, is that you don't allow yourself to become the person whose wife is the one you keep. I'm not saying you and your wife are not one, and hopefully they'll share all you have. But don't be that stingy, unwise character. As I'm speaking, some will hear me and just like, well, whatever, maybe I'll be adding 200 naira. I am not saying giving is the only way. There are people that are stingy and they have a lot of money. Are you hearing me? Favor is not, money is not the only way God favors you. Yes? Again, 90-something% of the time I preach, I don't refer to money as a way of blessing. But it can be provision. It is. It's not can. It is one of the ways. One of the ways God blesses you is to cause an abundance to come to you of resource, of provision. It's been abused. I've spent years preaching against that. But don't go to the extra and say, but my pastor said, this your pastor is telling you that men tend to be less favored in many ways. In fact, some of the favors they even enjoy is because of their wife and their children. That's why they even enjoy certain favors. Because the average man, his head doesn't work well. A female can give millions to the Lord. The man, out of the same amount of millions they had, millions, will give tens of thousands. And actually find themselves. And then another way men like to give or prefer to give, but they again can abuse it. They like to give in a way that it is recognized that they are the one that gave it. Very terrible weakness. They like to give in a way that, they give somebody so it's known that they give. If they even want to give the pastor something, they will give him like, pastor, I want to give you something. Every other person put it. People have come because of how I am. People have said, I don't know if I should put. I said, put in the offering, and the offering basket is some. Because in my mind, I'm wondering, every other person give their offering normally. Why you bring your own in an envelope, especially? So I should think, whatever offering you're about to give, even if I don't care how much is in that envelope. Do you know what other people have given? And you can see that person when you say, come on, shift for road. Might be one small looking girl like this. And she has given all her offering. The offering you give in 10 years has not come near it. Meanwhile, you'll be there doing like this. Me, I know. Me, I'm here. I know all sorts of things. So there are many. I'm sure your mother tries to give more than your father. Yes, no? Yes or no? Mother and father, you know what I'm talking about. Men are always... Abel was not a woman, was a man. That's the first time you're reading of an offering. The Bible looks at it and favors the person that gave it. Another one gives poorly. Is not in God's good books. Take note of what I said yesterday. Take note of it. Someone said to me, yesterday I was tuned in. I was just thinking, I just thought, out of some money I'm getting, I should give first fruit. Okay, maybe I'll give offering. As I just finished thinking, not just long, you started talking about it. And you kept at it. Bah, 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 bah. I know, I almost said in the meeting, who is this? Leave me. So the person now said, I'm going to give first fruit. Then I now remember that when my business started, I never gave first fruit. That I was just wondering. Then you started talking about it. So the Holy Spirit stopped and addressed the person. It is wisdom to honor the Lord. Abel honored the Lord, and God looked favorably upon him. Verse 5, but he did not look favorably upon Cain and his offering. And he got angry, had no regard. ISV says favorably. In the book of Genesis 18 verse, I guess I'll have to change this translation so we don't have a disagreement. You know Noah, Genesis 6:8. Noah, however, found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Okay? Noah, why did he find favor in God's eyes? The Bible says he was righteous. Verse 9. Blameless in his generation. So a blameless life will attract favor, yes? Good. So the first one we saw there, Abel's own, was a good offering. A good giving, proper giving, honorable giving. Noah, righteous living. Yes, Abraham, request. He prayed. He saw 3 men and he asked them in Genesis 19:3, my Lord, if I found favor in your sight, please do not pass your servant by. So you can request for favor. Prayer. Yes? Yes? Joseph, Genesis 39 tells you about Joseph finding favor. You know about Joseph's life. He was a good guy, correct guy, humble guy, obedient, honest guy, and he was treated unfairly. He was in prison. In verse 4, he finds favor in Potiphar's house. And he's faithful. So his faithfulness grants him favor. Faithfulness grants him favor. Faithful, consistent behavior. All these things. I've been in my position in life in the last nearly, let's say about 18 years. I've been in positions of some authority in work, in my workplace, different workplaces and all that, managerial capacity. I'd moved on from just being a young person to being a married person to being a worker to being a worker in authority, under bosses and over people as a boss. And it's real. Faithfulness makes you feel favorable towards people. People find favor in your sight, or they find disfavor with time. Faithfulness is the most powerful trigger I think it's something I shared. I think it was a family meeting though. It should be found and extracted and put out. It's a very important emphasis. No time to repeat it now. Be faithful. Faithful is not do well. Faithful means to be faithful. The word faithful is a fluid word. If what is requested of you is that you provide water for drinking, cool water, cold water, within a certain range, and you faithfully provide that water when needed, at the times needed. Oh, whenever I'm going to, or at so and so time, I'll usually need water. Maybe you were told once or told twice, and you consistently make that water available. And maybe you brought it and it was too cold, and they say, ooh, it's too cold. God, it came straight from ice. It's cold. Don't make it this cold. That's what you were told. And you corrected it and you asked, is that okay, sir? Say, just this is good. Like this. And you go out of your way to try and maintain that in that range, a certain range. But if they tell you this time, then the next time you give it, it's warm, it's tepid. You say, no, what's happening? Say, okay, let me go and change it. Then another time, you bring it super frozen again. Another time, you bring it room temperature. You are the opposite of what the word faithful means. Faithful by its nature is not fixed. Faithful means you're consistently dependable. You can be trusted. The word faith, trust, pistio, from pistio. It means to trust, to put you. One that is faithful is one who you can put trust in. You put trust in. So an unfaithful person, these are the examples in the book of Proverbs. It talks about someone that is like someone you lean on, you leaned on a fence and the fence broke. An undependent person and stabbed your hand. It's like a tooth that you were to bite something and you beat hard, not knowing that the tooth is broken. And that's the picture. Proverbs 25:19, like a broken tooth or a foot out of joint is confidence in a faithless man in time of trouble. Proverbs 25:19, confidence in a faithless man in time of trouble is like a broken tooth or a foot out of joint. You didn't know the foot is out of joint. You stepped on it like a normal. What happens? You fall. So faithless people that are inconsistent and undependable, it's the worst thing to be in the dimension we're speaking about with regards to being a good husband. It's what destroys marriages. It's what makes that woman lose hope. It's what makes the children hate all sorts of things. I depended. Now some of you have suffered a faithless father. He wasn't faithful. He didn't, when it's time for school fees, he doesn't provide, but he seems to have money to eat chicken or drink beer or enjoy himself or meet certain needs, but he's not meeting your needs even when he has. Now this is different if he didn't have, but faithlessness can rub off on people too. And one of the things you must be freed from as you prepare to be a good husband, you must not take on any bad trait your father had. If he's faithless to his wife, he has mistresses, side chicks, you don't copy it. You must look to be faithful. If you look at the book of Proverbs, Psalm 12, the 12th Psalm, it talks about the faithless man. Faithless people have ceased from the land. People that can't be depended upon. We need to have people that can be depended upon. And I'm saying at the top of the list should be husbands. Verse 1, help, O Lord, for the godly are no more. The faithful have vanished from among men. There has to be faithful men. Men have to be faithful. You have to be faithful. Hey, hear me. If all I spoke about for 3 days was faithfulness, the only reason we have this questionnaire is because we want to show you the practicality of faithfulness. If I say faithful, some men interpreted being faithful to mean praying for long hours. That's not faithfulness. Faithfulness is not to a single thing. I said faithfulness is where it's needed. You should be faithful to your boss, faithful to your wife, your spouse, faithful to your children, faithful to your pastor, faithful to your neighborhood. Your neighborhood says, everybody here will contribute this towards fixing the transformer. Everybody 20,000. Okay, you agree. You didn't disagree. All right, you left that. You should work hard to give that money. Not saying, leave me, am I the one that spoiled it? And your wife says, you said you give. Leave me alone. Am I the one that spoiled it? You are the opposite of faithful. You're faithless. You're dishonorable. You must be faithful. If this is all I spoke about these days, I would have done well. And how are you going to practice faithfulness? Is it when you marry? There's nothing like that. You would have practiced it in day-to-day life. They give you a duty. Do that duty. The only way you measure if you're going to be a faithful husband. Are you a faithful servant in any area you are in life? Are you faithful already? They give you clothes to iron. They show you how to iron it. You do it in a way that it's complained about. They show you again. You do it again in how you like. They show you again. Really? In this day and time, shouldn't you go on YouTube and check how to do it? Not caring how you do what you do is the opposite of faithfulness. It's that not caring. To be faithful, you must care. How did the Lord describe him? Luke chapter 12. He says, who is that good and faithful servant? What do you think the Lord does with good and faithful servants? He puts them in charge of his household. He said faithful and wise. Some translations, faithful and wise servant. He said he'll put him in charge of all his household to give them food in time. Luke 14 verse 12 verse 42. Who then is the faithful and wise manager whom the master puts in charge of his servants to give them their portion at the proper time? Listen, portion at proper time. That's how to know what the word faithful means. Those who do what they should do and at the right time. Oh, the children were to eat by 7:30 and by 1 or 1:30 and by 6. You have to be faithful. To be faithful means you don't wake up and say, oh, sorry. I ended up eating by almost 8. They're rushing, so they're eating it in the car. They're rushing to school. When they came back, when did they eat? I don't know. They came back around 1:30 or so. But this person cried and came and said, I gave them food. Maybe around 2:30. Have these children eaten? The time is 8 o'clock. No, I was just in the kitchen. I was in the kitchen. Why have they not eaten? Didn't I say you should eat by 6:37? That's why I'm saying I was in the kitchen. And the response is like, I beg, nobody should stress me. You make a horrible husband. May women run now because you will cause pain. Work on yourself. Work on yourself. Work on yourself. Work on yourself. Learn faithfulness. People have refused to give school fees while buying cars. You're going to be consistent. You will do things at the proper time, in the proper portion. That thing I talked about clothing earlier on, that's an example. You don't go affording what you can afford, but you can't afford because you need it for food. Then you can't buy food, so you hang around your friends telling, oh, sorry, God knows I don't have any money. You're eating other brethren's food while buying new shoes and clothes. Faithlessness in character is a surest sign of a dangerous husband. A character in flux, no steadiness. If there's something a man must be, you must be steady. Be steady. Be consistent. I understand females being back and forth, back and forth. But unfortunately, I've been surrounded by many times females that have sometimes been far more serious. We have more males in our community, our church community now. In the early days, for every maybe 20 females or 30, there was one male. Males seem to have time for God later. Why? Because they say they tend to copy their fathers more. They tend to treat God a bit more lightly. The women are more inclined to say, Jesus, help me. Oh. And then sometimes many men go to God or church because of women. Men are going to have to learn to become the most faithful and dependable characters that exist. We can't allow women to be more loving God more than the man. If Solomon said he searched and found out of 1,000 men, one righteous one, and couldn't find any woman, how could we turn it round? And it's now the opposite. So I've been in settings, Christian settings, many times, and you'd find women willing to learn and to serve. I said it openly. I don't even hide. Say almost all the males in our church group, it's females that mentored them. Our mentoring system, which runs for every church member, females mentored them, listened to them, taught them how to read the Bible, pay attention to all sorts of things. Why? Because they came late. And not just that. When I would stand and say, I need people as Bible study teachers to come for classes, the females would come out and the men would not. We need people to do this. The females will come out and the men would not. Years later, you have this army of females that are skilled in any way, in multiple ways, scripturally. And all I would imagine sometimes is, so if you get married now to any of those girls and you're having devotions, your family devotions, and you say something and the woman says, actually, it's not that, and begins to point out with her years of Bible teaching, and you go arguing, next thing you're saying, keep quiet in this house. All I can think about is how embarrassing it is. Because your children will see through your nonsense. When mommy has given them 35 verses to buttress her point, daddy, all bluster and noise. When the children ask questions, you say, keep quiet, don't be asking everything. Mommy, say, later they go to mommy in the kitchen while she's going. Say, mommy, that thing, daddy didn't answer. Say, yes, go and bring your Bible. And mommy is cutting onions and answering questions, quoting passages without looking. It really used to bother me. Thankfully, with time, the males hopefully began to sit up. But all I could wonder back then was, why are they so serious? What's happening here? They like to be in charge, and unprepared and in charge. Why would you want to be in charge when you're unprepared? What's that? Very embarrassing. Very embarrassing. Why would you want to be in charge? Why should you want to be in charge of what you cannot do well? Because you're a man. You have male parts. That means what? What exactly does that mean? Enter the kitchen and cook now. Make your daughter's hair. Oh yeah, you're the man. Come and make your daughter's hair. Plait it. Oh, you can't. It's a woman's thing. What is a man's thing? The Bible talks about the men. Abraham commanding his household after him. How are you going to command your household after you if you don't know the Father? If you have not given yourself. You do it casually and say, no, this is enough. Oh, no, a little is enough. Who said a little is enough? Do you have enough money? A little Bible study is not enough. A little prayer is not enough. A little is not enough. A lot is good. Go for a lot so you can lead. But never stand in the way of a woman or oppose a woman who knows more than you in anything. You dare not oppose her just because she knows, because you're the man. You give account to God. You give account to God. You must give account to God. Do you remember the daughters of Zelophehad? He said the daughters of Zelophehad are correct. He tells Abraham, listen to the voice of your wife, Sarah. So you are not right because you're a male. You are right if you are right. Now I've said sometimes the man may be correct a majority of time. Depends on the man. If the man fears God, loves the Lord, and is serious about it, most of the times he'll pick up on what God says. And even if his wife points out things, then they're in agreement. But if you have a habit, please don't tell me anything. Hold yourself. Woman, this, that. What you're doing is that you're providing bad leadership and trying to enforce it by reason of your headship. A head should be reasonable. You should want a good lieutenant. What do people do in an office? What happens in an office? Let me teach you how to relate with your wife when you marry. What happens in an office is that there's a boss. That's what a man is in a marriage. The man is the CEO. He's the head of that company, that business. The woman is like the manager, the next in authority. The way to relate with your wife is the way a business head relates with a good manager or with a manager. Even if she brings almost all the ideas that makes things run well, you don't say, sit down, MD, sit down. You're not the owner of this business. No, you commend him for all the ways he helps your business go forward. You say what? You give him promotion, you award him, you say thank you very much. Oh, let's welcome our splendid MD. You don't feel threatened and start fighting her and opposing her. But that's how some men are. Because they know they are inept. They are bad at leading. Then you start hating on and attacking the manager that God gave you, the assistant. Your job is to give direction and instructions. Oh, this is what you should do. Oh, this is how you should do it. Okay, I want us to do this. MD, don't do this other thing. That's not, the children shouldn't do this, okay? Don't let them. I saw this once, twice, thrice. No more. That's how. But even if she brings 100 ideas, keeps bringing proposals, you don't oppose it and say, it's like you want to take over this family. No, you're happy and you give praise to God that, wow, thank God so much for such a good coordinator. Is this clear? That's how you think about your wife. If she gives an idea that is not good, you go like, no, let's think about it. But you don't act like anything that they say. Again, remember, I do not at any time forget that your past influences your future. If your father lifts your hands against your mother as a norm, striking her, slapping her, beating her, you will find yourself tempted to do that. Often, you will find it. You think, in spite of all your vows, I can never do this thing my daddy did to my mom. You will find yourself tempted to do it. Because anything your eyes have seen, you're inclined to much more copy. Anything your eyes have not seen is much harder. It's not what your ears have heard as much as what your eyes have seen that influence you. So how do you warn yourself as a man who wants to be a good husband? Tell yourself ahead of time. Let me write down, identify every weakness I think my father had. Every weakness. Now you're taking your piece of paper. You're about to write. I'm giving you 2 minutes. You're going to write down everything you think was not something good. Skip the page. Don't merge it with the next thing. Skip the page. You can even go to just skip a page or two, and write it down. Everything you think, if you didn't grow up with your father, you grew up with any other male figure, write it down. I grew up with my uncle. I grew up with a man. I grew up with someone. I grew up with my older brother. I grew up with... Write the man or men in your life that you've watched, whether 5 years here, 10 years there, growing up. What were the things they did you did not admire, you did not trust? Write it as a list. Anger, they get too angry. They abuse. They call people names. They tear you down. They beat you too hard. They beat you. They slap you up and down. when they knock you, I'm not saying they should knock, but the knock is as though they want to kill you. They abuse you, they call you names. It may not be you. Listen, they may have not tampered with you more, but something you saw you didn't like. They may have done it to someone else, another sibling of yours. Maybe you were intelligent in school, they never beat you, but you didn't like. What was it you saw that you didn't like? You said in yourself, I won't be doing this, I won't do this, or I hope I'll not do this, or this is, I don't think this is not good. Write it. I gave you 2 minutes. 1 minute has passed. Part of what will happen to you at the end, if your paper is blank, I'll collect your book and I'll ask you specific questions. Your father, then you tell me which sector of heaven he fell out of. If he had money, he didn't used to like giving your mother, was stingy, or he was secretive, had secrets, has all sorts of things, or he despised my mother, he separated from your mom, he left your mom, left you with your mom, left you people separated, was selfish. You think he was selfish? Write it down. If he died and you grew up with only your mother, just write it. I grew up without a father. I barely remember my father. I only grew with my mother. There was no uncle, nobody else you watched or lived with. Just write what happened. Okay. Back to now. You skip that page and go back to where I talk about favor. You go back to any other place. These things will be important when we are praying tomorrow. Okay, so keep it well. You need it to pray, and let me tell you in advance how you pray. It's not that you can't pray ahead if you like when you go home, but remember to pray about this. Just know that you're inclined. Your father or your family will manifest some of the influences, familiar spirits that might afflict a family might come out in your father's life. Okay, their spirits. If your father was promiscuous, unfaithful morally to your mother or to your stepmother, whoever, he was randy, he was man around town, you may be tempted in that way. Doesn't mean you should fall even once. I'm just saying, if he was stingy, if he was secretive, even when you say I don't like it, it can be a sign of things that are in his family lineage. It means it will want to come for you too. It means you have to deliberately build structures spiritually to overcome them all. You have to know the enemy, your enemies. Now, there's a general enemies of all humanity and all families, but you have to know, is it specifically the Amorites that occupy part of my inheritance, or is it Hittites, or are they Girgashites or Jebusites? Are they Philistines? What kind of enemy? What do they worship? What's their inclination? You have to be strategic. I'm using prophetic parallels. If it is immorality, then I have to structure my life in a way that I am not exposed to the possibility. If it is, now it doesn't mean your father may have been faithful and you are the one that's consumed by immorality. So this I had and fast rule. This is not these are just possibilities. Okay, don't leave here and say, oh, this has not happened in our family. I don't. It may have even happened and you're not aware of it, or your father may have overcome it by the power of Jesus too. But remember, you can have a father, Ezekiel 18. You can have a man who was righteous and God-fearing, and there's a son he has who is not like that, who is unrighteous and wicked. Yes, and vice versa. So in Jesus, or through the fear of God, you can be good or bad. You can be good even if you come from a bad lineage. The important thing you must do is determine that you will live in a way that pleases God. You live righteously, live in a God-fearing way. Your father may have been very dandy, a real ladies' man, loves to dress nicely. I've seen men on the road walking dress nicely, style. They are still walking with a swagger, and they are old. You can see this man is in his 50s, in his 60s. You can know how he was as a young man. The Bible doesn't say that it's a blessing for the gray head to be found in the way of fashion. It's in the way of righteousness. I'll presume it was a bit irresponsible. I'll think he may have been a bit irresponsible when he was young, and he has carried it till he grew old. If I'm to talk with him, I'll ask him, how much of your Bible have you read? How many times have you read your Bible through? You don't want to grow up being the stylish man. All that thing we were talking about dressing earlier. You want to be known for being stylish. With the same money you wear and make an ugly cloth, you can make a nice one. I agree. With the same money, you can be neat. Simple effort. Don't can be neat, not over. Can stick to a particular thing. But it is for righteousness that you will be known. That's what you should be known for as you grow older. It's never for fashionableness, for righteousness. It's righteousness you want. Joseph found favor because he was faithful to Potiphar in verse 4. But by verse 21, where he was imprisoned wrongly, the Lord was with him and extended kindness to him, granting him favor. This time in the prison warden's eyes. Same Joseph, whether in a big man's house or in a warden's eyes, in prison, still found favor. Why? Because the Lord was with him. So what should every man want above everything? How do you attract favor? God should be with you. Yes? Pursue God. Let God be with you. So God gives favor. And I've made that point very clearly. As you study and grow, it's not just Jesus that increased in favor with God and man. It's Samuel, 1 Samuel 2:26. And the boy Samuel continued to grow in stature and in favor with the Lord and with man. Have you seen that? This is like Luke 2, verse 51. Same thing. 52. Luke 2, verse 52. Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man. But before him, there was a Samuel. So don't look at him and say, that's just Jesus. Jesus is special. Who can compare? No. What did Samuel do that would grant him favor? What would Samuel do? Samuel loved the Lord. Samuel heard the voice of God. If you look at verse 22, it says the sons of Eli were committing immorality. Verse 23 says their wicked deeds. They're sleeping with the women who came to the temple. Their wicked deeds are being spoken about. Next verse 24. Context. It tells them, don't do this thing. 25 gives them context. And he goes on to talk about, all this is just wrong. Verse 26. And Samuel. So while these other touts, sons of Eli, were misbehaving, doing wickedness, God was angry with them. Samuel was growing in stature and in favor with God and man. Listen to me. All of you here can decide to be people who grow in favor with God. Man. A husband is going to be someone who has favor. If you have favor with God, God is with you. There's a confidence it brings. You marry a wife, you may not have much. When I married, I didn't have much. I've told you how I'll go visit my wife in the university. Not my wife, she wasn't my wife at the time. Even before I ever told her anything about any interest. And I remember, we were in the same church. But even after I've expressed interest, and all of that, and she knows that I'm interested in her in regards to marriage. Okay, I've told you how I told her. Yours doesn't have to be like mine, but I remember telling her, say, can you tell your parents that someone is interested in you? That's how I told her. I didn't ask her, I'm interested in you. I want you to be interested in me. I just asked her, has God ever told you anything? She said no. I said, can you tell your parents? I sent a message to her parents. It's parents that give away daughters in marriage. She cannot give herself away. So all of you that disregard protocols. And time passed. We were still in the same church. But supernatural things, you've probably heard it, She goes home one of those days, cleans the house. Her father prays for her and blesses her. Without her telling him anything, he says, I always said you marry by 24, but I'm releasing you to marry by 22. And she's 20 at the time. Now, this is just shortly after I've told her to tell her parents, and she has not told. Then her father says this. How many of you think that's a sign? Yeah. So, and truly she married 2 years later. But we got married 2 years later. But I'm talking about going to visit her in the hostel, and I'm buying oranges for 50 naira. 3 oranges, 4 oranges, giving her that. I was always non-pretentious. Some of you are full of hot air. Not pretentious. Why do I need to pretend? I can't keep it up. Can't keep up pretenses. So. Yeah. And when the time did come, we got married. What she saw before we married is what she saw after we got married. It's not like there's a transformation. Transformers. And when now you change into a praying mantis or something. Consistency is important. Being faithful. So no matter what else you go through, at least you know, well, my husband is consistent. This Bible is talking. This is how he was talking and talking Bible. Someone will come to visit girl, be talking Bible. I'm not saying you should talk Bible. If you know day, no day. So it's what was there that came out of me. And I'm not saying you should talk Bible and run her out. But again, she didn't run now. She stayed. See her there. She stayed. If you don't know my wife, well, you all know my wife. She stayed. She didn't see her now. We have 6 children. So she stayed. You cannot have greater evidence. It's after we married that she will confess and say, my husband, all those books he was giving me, I heard it in a church meeting. All those books, when she gives me, I'll give it to my friend to read. Thank God I didn't know. But the whole idea is, I was being real. It's what excited me that I talked about. And it was God, about things in the Bible and all that. That she had the grace to hear it and endure it is a good sign. Now she's hearing it and still not just enduring, she's enjoying it. Even if she didn't enjoy it, then some people, you want everything to be perfect. You want to see, are you all correct, woman? I'm not saying you should ignore red flags. There are red flags. There are warnings God will give you. That warning doesn't mean don't marry, but that warning can mean when you marry, this will be there. There are things God hinted me before we married, that when we married, it happened. It kept happening here and there. And it's like, even if I want to say, God, why? And it's like, but I told you before. It didn't mean you shouldn't marry. It just meant that brace yourself. When you marry, there are things you come across. Usually God can give you signs. Then there are the kinds that are not, is not no approval. God is saying no. It's not a slight beep. It's a loud klaxon warning. Bah, bah, bah. No. If you insist and go through it, sorry, Mr. Man, your life shall be close to L. The letter L. Sorry. Yorubaized. So you can add the rest. Yeah, you might not find it funny. I feel like you're close to hell. They're going to have to not focus on her. They're going to focus on you. This meeting is to talk about you. How do you prepare to be a husband that God can say, good and faithful husband, enter into the joy of your father. Say, good, faithful, he pays their fee. Not a stupid man that buys an iPhone when he hasn't paid school fees. He didn't just become like that. He was a nonsense guy. Don't worry, I'll try and have a meeting with the girls and warn them. But I'm telling you in advance. I'm sure I've warned them in the past. Those are the signs. He buys shoes. He likes to wear shoes that. And then you turn and say, babe, you have like small transport there. I've told all the girls to run from touts like that. Say tout. You will not be bringing money for market, for groceries when you marry. It's a dangerous man. It's a faithless man. Now again, I keep giving room for how what you saw growing up. It may have been normal. I heard about an argument a couple had, real thing. And the man said he's very unhappy. He doesn't understand his wife. She's a bad wife. Imagine at night she expects me to go and lock the gate. And the man like, what? The woman of God, the counselor, Christian, said, what? How do you mean? Said, oh, that when his own mother she raised him as an only child. And therefore, that's what he knew. He didn't know that it is expected of husbands, because his mother grew up without a husband. So the silly boy grew up and purportedly became a man, expecting his wife to go out in the darkness and handle security for the house. That's why we have meetings like this. That's why we have the G3. Because I presume nothing. That's why I expect you, in addition to anything we ask you here, I expect you for tomorrow's meeting to write down questions. We have to pray. We'll answer questions and we'll pray. And on Saturday, they're having the etiquette committee. The etiquette committee will be having a meeting. That meeting is supposed to help teach you certain things. I think it's 2 Saturdays in whole to cover multiple topics. I would encourage all of you to be here on Saturday. It's male and female, so all of that. You guys have to learn how to eat with a fork and knife. You have to learn certain things. Learn it. It's learned. I did it for 6 years in secondary school, compulsorily. Federal Government College, it was compulsory. So I can do it very well. It's not like I was born. It's not like you're born with it. It's not like rich people use fork and knife in Nigeria. You can be very rich, but it's the school you go to. Now, most of you didn't go to such a school. So I will encourage you on your personal level, buy a fork, a knife, and a spoon. Have it. A table knife, not a kitchen knife. Some of you are laughing. Some of you are like, So, buy a table knife. You're going to practice. Let me just give you one cue. You hold the knife in your right hand, not left. You don't hold the fork. You hold a fork in your left hand. Now, managing that, it's not easy. So you better start practicing. In case your wife takes you out. All right, I'm not saying you have to mind them. It's not you that pay for the food. Wash your hands well. Liver. But you may find yourself in a situation. You don't want your wife disappointed in you just because of how you ate. Are you hearing me? Do you understand this? All right, so I'll be stepping up and out now, but I would like for you to know and understand that the Lord does want to make husbands. There are not many scriptures that focus on the husband specifically and directly. It's mostly indirect. All of you should have known Ephesians 5 thoroughly and what it says about being a husband, Colossians, and certain First Peter passages where it speaks of the husband, speaks of a husband. Book of Proverbs, in Ecclesiastes, First Timothy. some of you, many of you will end up being leaders in the church in one way or the other. So you shouldn't be preparing just to be a husband. You should be preparing to be a leader in the body of Christ. The standards are higher. You have to prepare. I was preparing to be a husband before I was 20. Yes, I read books. The first Christian books I read on marriage were my mother's books. So imagine, that's from the woman's angle. I read those things. A woman should be a good wife. All of that. My mom had that. But I also went on to listen to messages Dwayne Sheriff had. He's a white preacher. I listened to him on marriage. I bought all his cassettes I could find secondhand. I bought them, listened to them. So my mind was pretty prepared. I wanted someone I could love. That's the mindset in marriage, not someone to love you. Many of you, you're upside down. You want someone to love you. I'm not saying it's wrong to want to be loved, but I'm saying you better ask God for a mental overhauling. You should be someone who has gotten ready to love a woman. You can't say I love her because you feel passion, you're feeling hot, you're looking forward to sex and all its dopamine pleasure. You will look at that person sometimes and feel like killing her when she offends you 10,000 times. None of those things you think is what will give you peace in your home. It's God that will help you. It's you and hopefully your wife. But you must prepare. You must prepare thoroughly. You learn the fruit of the Spirit, the patience. I was learning all these things before I was 20. I was studying my Bible. I was practicing it. I was gentle. I was still. But there are times I've shouted at my wife. I'm angry. In spite of all my preparation, in spite of the good example, I didn't see my father beat my mother, so I didn't have the example. You see me talking, I didn't have that. So it's not even there. I didn't see my father shouting, why won't you make food in this house? I didn't see. He would patiently wait. They would often even go out together to preach for fellowship, church, different things. Come back together, even if they are complaining, both of them are complaining about the maid. Not that I approve, but both of them together are complaining. My mom was always a working woman, My mom had a master's when I was a tiny child, so she was educated. When my father was doing his PhD, she was doing a master's. So I grew up, but my point is and she came from a family, her father was a big man. Being a good husband, you don't stand up it's not wearing a suit. I actually get disgusted by men who are fops, FOPs, it's ancient English, but all for dressing, then internally, boom, boom, empty can. I expect men to want to know to be a bit more heavy upstairs, heavier here. You must know how to bring balance. You will not succeed in doing that effectively if you don't prepare. That's why we are here. There's no way I think 3 days will do anything. As our brother continues with the questions, try and answer everything today. Finish, ask more questions. I want to see the questions that are asked. I hope someone is typing them out. I want to look at them tonight, later on, and tomorrow, before the meeting. But the night meeting is, if tomorrow is Thursday, how many of you don't get off work till 6? About 5 of you, 6 of you. The rest of you can be here by 5. Those people can always tune in. You can catch up later. We are out of time. So let's have more time and touch up more things. You finish this, ask all the questions you can. This is not the place to come and keep quiet. There's a reason we keep the females out. So you don't say, I'm ashamed. Think of the things that have worried you as a future husband. Some of you marry sooner than you think. Some of you may be saying, no, don't worry, maybe in the next 5 years. Some of you may marry in 2 years. Some of you will marry faster than you think. You don't know. Some of you, maybe in a year, you may be married. You don't know it yet. As the Lord leads, some in God may surprise you. So everything that has to do with preparation. That's what this meeting's about. Please make sure you listen to the past G3 meetings. That's something else. I suspect many of you here have not. Go back and listen to all the sets. The link is in existence. Drop the link for all this. If you haven't, download the audios. If you can't download, ask someone. They can transfer it to your phone. Ask. If you're in this space, ask, and they will transfer it to you. Listen to them. Take notes. I do not trust a man, and there's no man I would likely wed that hasn't gone through our different meetings. Because I need to know, even if you don't agree with what I say, at least know it. Maybe the Lord will be able to build on it. Even if you argue with time, one day the Holy Spirit may tell you this is true. But if you despise it, if you despise counsel, the Bible says fools despise wisdom. Fools. I don't want any man that has sat under me to be a fool. Why would I carry a daughter of Zion and marry to Nabal, who remembers him? He is as his name. You don't know Nabal. 3 people raise their hands. Some of you don't know, so don't keep your hand there. Nabal married who? Is Abigail, a woman that was said to be wise. What happens when a woman is married to a fool? Go and listen to what Abigail said to David when she met him. Nabal was fully alive when she said, and remember your maidservant. 10 days later, her husband died. Go figure. May your wife not be an Abigail and you're a neighbor. Because God may zap you so she can marry a David, a man with prospects, a man who behaves himself wisely in all his ways, a man who fears the Lord. There are too many fools that are called men. They never focus on what matters. All the things we're studying, all the things we've studied, go back all the way to 2018. Don't search. It's in a folder. They are going to, those audios, I hope they are neat and edited and not just the ancient way it was. Make sure all those things are perfected. We'll give it to you. It will be as a combo. Listen to it over time. You can take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. Listen to it. Have a book. Take notes. You will need all that info. You will be in marriage and go like, I heard what to do in this situation. And you'll be prepared and God will give you grace. Amen. Tomorrow, 5 o'clock, okay? As we continue our testing now. Thank you.
We had 3 questions that we moved. We had 3 questions that we moved from, that we did not take yesterday. And we had moved it to what we call homekeeping. So since we are going to be doing homekeeping now, I'll just read those questions. Dressing was just one question. Oh, but did you answer it? So it was just one question. So our next subheading is homekeeping. So you can put it up, then I'll read after. So question number 1 says, how would you describe your level of proficiency in the kitchen? How many of our men can cook? How many of our men can spice up something in the kitchen? That's just basically what it means. Please, as you answer these questions, I would just like to point something out. And I know Pastor has already said so much about this. Answer these questions with this in mind, that it's tied to you becoming a good husband. It's tied to the preparation to become a good husband. So that's 1A.
Can we use the scale of 1 to 10 to answer it?
On a scale of 1 to 10, Okay, yeah, we can do a scale of 1 to 10. Yeah, we can do a scale of 1 to 10. Yes, we can do 1 to 10 because the second part actually goes ahead to explain. So you would have actually written this here, but do 1 to 10 for A. Then B is where you can now list how many dishes you can make. Soups, normal dishes like rice, jollof rice, fried rice, coconut rice, ekpan kokwo, and and different things. No, just write the dishes. That's total number of dishes. Total number of dishes. If you also want to list, it's fine. You can keep the space for that, but you can still write total number of dishes. If you feel that you want to list them, it's still good. Well, like I said, mention the number of dishes you can do first, because maybe you can do 20 dishes, and we may not really have the time for you to start listing. But you can still keep the space on the side, right, so that you can list it. So just write the number. 20 dishes, 10 dishes, but keep a space. Okay, so we can take the next one. The next one says, do you clean up your kitchen as you cook, or do you pile up and wash later? As you're cooking, are you cleaning, or are you the person that piles up and then you have a very large heap? So the next one, do you keep your kitchen organized and efficient? And what steps do you take to minimize clutter? What steps do you take to minimize dirt in your kitchen? I think this one is, you would have to write a bit so you can keep a few lines and just explain how you keep your kitchen neat. The bottom line here is, do you keep your kitchen neat? If I were to walk into your kitchen, is it going to be neat, or is it smelly? Do you have plates lying all around? Would it be that if someone is coming to your house, you first, and someone has to bump into your kitchen, would you first of all tell us, oh, hold on, and then you rush and clean your kitchen first before we come in? Or we can enter your kitchen at any time, So that's... Okay, so we can move to question number 2. Are you careful about ensuring a balanced and nutritious diet for yourself or family members? That's okay. Now I'm hearing sounds, so I know there are very many guilty souls here. Example, taking fruits. If you're a member of this house, you know that Pastor has talked about this thing of taking fruits a lot. We've heard it over and over and over again. So are you someone who is who keeps to that, or do you disobey that instruction? Free. Okay. Okay, question number 3. Describe your approach to maintaining a clean and organized home, including daily and weekly routines. The first, so A, sweeping and dusting the house, packing your clothes properly, washing your clothes. You pile up clothes, you pile up dirty clothes and make your house stink. Do you sweep your house? Do you dust your house? Do you pack your clothes, tidy them, fold them neatly? If someone comes to your room, will they see your clothes arranged, or would it be that if someone were to visit you, if you are someone who wants to get married now, and the sister is allowed to visit your house, she come in and see clothes everywhere? One is hanging on the wall, the other one is on the chair, this other one is on the wardrobe door, and then the person has to be walking around just to avoid clothes, So, am I blocking you? Okay, no, I can be free. I hope you can see you. Okay, I'm blocking you, sir. It's fine. No, I'll be out of frame with the camera. So, okay, so I'm going to read some questions we had skipped yesterday, which we moved to homekeeping. Here it says, so what routine maintenance are you? Are you done? Which question? Describe your approach to maintaining a clean and organized home, including daily and weekly routines. Okay, so look at the screen and answer the question. I'm also blocking you. Come and sit here now. Come and sit here. I hope all of you can see. Okay, you can hear. Okay. Yes, sir.
How do we approach these questions? Is it that you are answering question A daily, or after every 3 hours, or after every 4 hours? Like question C, do you wash your clothes weekly or monthly or 3 days? After 3 days, how do we approach these questions?
Including daily and weekly routines. Do you do it daily? Do you do it weekly? So do you sweep and dust your house daily? Or is it weekly? How do you do it? Do you sweep your room once in a week? Or twice in a week? Or do you sweep it every day, every 2 hours? Like once it's dirty, you sweep. Again, you sweep. That's just it. Same thing goes for how do you pack your clothes properly? Are you someone who, how do you do it? When do you wash your clothes? Do you wash your clothes once in a week? You wash all your clothes, or do you wash once in a month? Yes, because it's possible you might wash once in a month. And it might be because maybe you don't have water. And you can explain. So So these three things is just a breakdown to help you answer the question. Are you good? Okay, so I think we can move to the next question, right? Okay. Yes, okay. So what basic repairs around the house can you confidently handle on your own? Basic repairs. If a bulb is bad, can you change it? If a lamp holder is bad, can you change it? Just basic things. If a socket is bad, can you change it? Can you screw properly? If something is shaky and you have to, or if you have to fix something in a house, can you do it? Is it something you can do, or you are the kind of person who will always call somebody? You're always calling someone to come and fix for you. The way I'm just seeing some people, the way they are looking at me, it's very likely that they don't even have anything to write. So if you don't have any basic repairs, just say I don't. It's simple. Just say I do not have any basic. I don't know how to do any basic repairs. I don't have any skills. Remember, we are to be transparent, tell the truth, say things as they are, so that we can also learn. So the B part says, have you ever fixed any appliance or household item successfully? Have you ever installed a fan? Have you ever installed anything in a house? Are you someone who is handy? Do you know how to do it? Have you ever done it? If you've not done it, no. If you have, yes. You can as well give us an example of what you've done. You can say, okay, I fixed the fan, I fixed the switch, just any household appliance. But basically, it's a yes and no answer. But for those who write yes, you can just put an example. C. Can you use a screwdriver, a hammer, and a plier comfortably? Are you one of those people that when you want to nail, the hammer will scatter your thumb? In fact, every time you've used the hammer, it has always given you a sore thumb. Are you one of those people? Or you are trying to nail a wall and you use a small nail? Instead of using a concrete nail on a very hard wall, you use maybe a 3-inch nail or a 4-inch nail, and it keeps on bending. So that's what we're talking about. Can you use a screwdriver comfortably? Can you use a plier comfortably? If you had to use a plier to remove things, can you use it? If there's a naked wire and you're trying to hold it, can you use a plier to hold it? Or you are the person that will start shouting, or you can run away from that place just because you don't have such skills. So if you can't use it, you just say, no, I can't. Or I can use a hammer, but I cannot use a screwdriver and a plier. Or I can use a plier, I can use a screwdriver, but I cannot use a hammer. So you can answer like that, in as much as it's a yes and no answer, but you can just add specifics. Some of us we answered some of these questions so fast, but it makes me wonder, is it that for some of those questions, you're just saying no, no, no? Is it that it's just no, no, no? But don't worry, not to worry. If it's no, you would learn to use it. Yeah, that's also the essence of having these meetings. Okay, I hope we are done with this. Okay, let's move to the next question. So, how do you actively contribute to fostering a positive and supportive work environment for your colleagues? This question is, so if you're a student, let me explain how this question would apply to you. There is work in this house, and maybe you're in a particular unit, or your unit, a sub-unit, or whatever. So let's just take it that the people who work with you in that unit are your colleagues. So how do you foster a positive and supportive work environment? Do people feel happy working around you? Or is it that once they just see you, they get tired. They just feel, you know what, I'm done. And they leave because they know that with you in that place, it becomes what you call a toxic environment. So are you someone who, anytime you are in a team or you want to do something with people, you are very toxic. You make the place unbearable. You're not a team player, and you're not someone who tries to make it a good work environment. Or you're the kind of person that people love to work with you. When they see you, they are happy. They are motivated. Once they just see you, they are motivated because they know that they are going to achieve success in what they are doing. That's how to answer that question. You can say yes or no. You don't really have to put in so much details. You can just say yes, I'm that kind of person, or no, I am not. Are you done with the last question? Okay, so how do you approach challenges at work? I hope you understand this question. How do you approach challenges at work? Remember, if you're not a worker per se and you're a student, it's still the same thing. You face challenges with your studies. How do you approach these challenges? Are you one who would shy away, or are you one who you can handle various challenges and still come out successful? You still get to do what you have to do despite the challenges you are facing. So take some space, give us a summary on how you handle challenges.
Sorry, sir. For the previous question, is there no room for not sure?
Please, let's go back to the previous question.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you actively contribute to fostering a positive and supportive work environment? Okay, you're not sure.
Yes, maybe sometimes I'm just
in between.
Yeah, in between.
So there are times when you can foster a positive, and then there are some times when you don't. Is it that kind of thing?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say? How many times have you been good and bad?
Okay.
If you've been good most times, then
All right.
maybe let's say you had a bad day. You had a bad day, which means that you've been mostly good, but maybe you had a bad day. So for this question, many times you get feedbacks. People usually give you feedbacks. People would say to you, you get feelers here and there, and people know that they love to work with you, you know. If you're a student, people like to do assignments with you. They want to read with you, you know, that kind of thing. So just use these explanations to gauge.
Sorry.
Next question. What routine maintenance tasks are you capable of performing on a car? So hold on. For this question, I know that there are very many people who don't have a car. Sorry? So this is number 14. This is number 14. So I know many people don't have a car, and if we were to ask, quite a number of us may not know how to drive. And so this question is there to also advise you that you should know how to, basically you should have some skills. You can learn some of these things. You should know some basic things you can do, you know, like checking water level, check the oil level. So those are basic things. If someone gives you a car, someone says, oh, let's say you can drive, and someone gives you a car, are you the kind of person that you open the car, start it, and off you go? You don't check oil, you don't check anything, nothing. So long as the car starts, off you go. So you need to know that there are routine maintenance checks, because not all cars are the same. There are cars that have issues. There are cars that you always need to check oil level, because the oil level might be low. And you know the downside of not knowing these things is because if you are driving that kind of car, you will knock the engine. Yeah, there'll be a day you might even be traveling and then it just goes bad, you know. So basic things. And as men, it's important that you know these things. You wouldn't want to buy a car and first day you just jump and you want to start the car and your wife tells you, honey, they check oil first though. And you don't know this basic thing. Or they tell you, no, check water. You know, you need to know these things, you know. So this question, if you don't know it, yes, you would just say no. But it's also to tell you that you should learn these things. You can ask questions. You can ask people who have cars. Now we have the internet and all that. So you can read up these things. People do a lot of write-ups on these things. They do videos and so many things that you can use. You can just learn. You can learn these things whether you own a car or not, whether you know how to drive or not. Of course, we had talked about life skills yesterday, and driving is one of them. And we do expect that most of us here should know how to drive. It's expected, and drive well, not just knowing how to move a car, but you know how to drive very well. So the B part says, have you answered A? Have you all answered A? So the B part says, have you ever successfully troubleshooted and fixed a car issue by yourself? So a car parks up on the road. What do? Do you stand there, take your phone and start calling people for help? Let's say it happens 9 p.m. and you're in a place where everywhere is all dark. Would you know what to do? Basic things that you would check to troubleshoot and see how you could get the car to start, or possibly just decipher what is wrong with the car. Now, have you ever done this? I know if you do not own a car, or you have not someone has not given you a car to manage or to keep, this might not be something you've done before. At the same time, just like the first question, it's something you should also learn. It's very important. You don't really need, I mean, there are people who own cars and they still don't know how to do these things. They get to learn these things long after they started, I mean, they've owned a car or they're driving. But you can learn these things early. You can learn these things early. You can read up these things. You can also ask people. You can ask a mechanic. You can ask a friend who owns a car. You can ask anyone who drives cars, and they will teach you what to do. Yes, question. Please, can you pass the mic?
Sir, does this also include probably when your tire goes bad?
Yes, when your tire goes bad. Yes. Yeah, we would put it. Yeah, I know the question points more at having an engine problem, but we can also look at tires. Okay. Let me just throw something out. How many of us here can change the tire successfully? Okay, no, let's switch the question the other way around. From the people who did not raise their hands, or the ones who didn't raise their hands, you had access to a car. Oh, no, let's throw it all around. So most of us here don't own cars. So I presume that many of the hands that went up, so of all the hands that went up, how many of you have cars around you, or you just lent it? It's not like, I know you don't own a car, so I know how many people own cars here. But I'm saying, for the ones whose hands went up, how many lent it from? Maybe it was an uncle's car, your father's car, a friend's car. How many? So say the numbers. So for those who don't know how to do it, there's no excuse. You don't want to drive a car with your wife in the car and it stops. And she just steps out and waits, and she's waiting for you and pressing her phone and saying, fix it now. And then you stand there, you're all confused. You try to put the tire, and then the tire is not fixed properly. So the thing is wobbly and all that. It will be so embarrassing if you cannot do it. So you have to learn how to do it. There's a vulcanizer downstairs. You can just ask him. If you want to learn from him, you can ask him. You can ask the people who have raised their hands. It's a simple technique. You can watch a video, simple, and you will learn it. It's quite straightforward. All right, so let's go to the next question. Can you list some home improvement skills you possess, such as painting, tiling, or basic carpentry? Okay, good question. Basic carpentry, just use a hammer to... No. Mend. You can mend things, but I think basic carpentry is that you can just create simple things. Like you could create a simple coffee table, which is just simple stuff. Sorry, please give him the mic. Give him the mic. Pass the mic. Creating or repairing?
Yes, because are we talking about creating or we're talking about repairing? I mean, in terms of carpentry, for instance, a carpenter will create
and repair.
But okay, yes. How about you don't create, but you repair?
So I think if you have the skill to repair, you almost do. It's just that you've not done it. But if you can repair, it means you can attempt creating. Now, if you also apply yourself to certain skills, you might be able to create simple things. Savings box. You know how they do it now.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
This could stem from your ability to use some of those tools that we mentioned earlier, like
Yes. Hammer, plier, screwdriver, yes.
and pliers and stuff. So what I understand to be basic carpentry skills will be your ability to, for instance, a hinge like that one, loses one of its nails. Are you able to take a nail and drive it back inside? A hinge, bolt, your door, the handle is fault or loses one of its screws or nails. Are you able to put it back? I do think that creating stools, it can be quite simple. You may not be able to do it very well, but creating stools can be a little bit of more of an advanced carpentry skill. But if you have basic skills like mending, a wood cracks, what do you do when you find out that the wood of the furniture in your house is cracked? What do? Do you apply gum? Do you use another wood to mend it, to put it together and nail it together? They are just basic things that is mostly common sense oriented things, rather than your ability to really know how to finely carve wood and do stuff like that. So the basic carpentry skill will mostly be your ability to mend wooden objects that are in your house, your ability to repair if it's broken. If you can find the materials to repair it, will you want to wait for a carpenter to come and do it for you, or can you just simply take a screw and screw back that thing and it will be safely screwed? Not that you screw it in a way that when the next person touches it, it falls apart again. If you are able to do those things, then you would say that you have basic carpentry skills.
So just to add to that, like as he has explained it, if there is a need, would you, and it's a little thing, like I was pointing at this hinge and let's say the bolt is out, can you use the hammer and just drive it in? So basic skills, like Charles said, creating and repairing. We talked about tiling, talked about painting. There's also painting. How many of us can paint? Whether it's basic or okay, how many of us can use a roller on the wall? You can we at least you can paint now. You can paint and it looks nice. You can paint and then someone comes in here and he appreciates what you've done. So you're meant to list home improvement skills. We gave some examples: painting, tiling, or basic carpentry, and you can add any other things that you have. So let's move to the next question. This is tricky. Can you repair a leaking tap? Okay, let's take it one after the other. Can you repair a leaking tap? Can you repair a leaking tap? How many people can repair a leaking tap? Awesome. No, wherever it's broken, just can you repair it? If a tap is leaking, can you repair it? Can you replace it? Can you? Yes, you're not just using sellotape, but you're doing something that is good now. Even if you use sellotape, it will still leak. It will leak over time because water will kill the adhesive gum. And so, the question is, can you do it? Okay, so those who can do it, even though you don't have the tools, at least you can do. You've passed one aspect. The other thing would be that you also need to try and get tools. I mean, basically, you should have a toolbox. You should have a toolbox that has basic tools. No. We're not doing believing. There's no belief. You can do it. You can do it. You cannot do it. You cannot do it. Don't believe anything. No. We are being practical. We are doing practical things. You can do it. We know you can do it. If you cannot do it, you say you cannot do it, then you will learn it. So and then the other part is, can you fix an electric switch or a lamp holder? An electric switch on the wall, or can you fix a lamp holder? Or are you the type who would have to call people? You have to call somebody to come and fix it. Okay, our question says, can you repair? But at the same time, to replacement is part of it, because if a lamp holder is bad, you should also know how to replace it. Yes. So, can you repair, stroke? Can you replace? We said, or fix. So it would mean that we've also considered replacement. Are there skills you would like to learn or improve upon? Having said all these things we've said, do you think there are skills? So you write it in your answer. Do you think there are skills you would like to learn or you would like to improve? Improvement, when we said painting, yes, you can paint. You can use a roller brush, but is it good enough? Is it good? Can it earn you an income? Is it something that if the chips are down and you have to do it, would someone hire you? If you're a tiler, would someone hire you? Would someone look at the bonding on your tiles and it looks good? Or would someone look at it and it looks shoddy? Would someone look at what you've done? Could you use any of these things to earn an income? So if there are skills that you would like to learn, you list them. If there are skills, and it's not limited to what we have here. I mean, you could write other things. If there are also skills that you feel that you should improve upon, you also write it. Of course, you should improve your skills, because you remember we had a question yesterday that talked about this, that addressed this. Yes, it's a farming season is upon us. How would you describe your farming skills? How many of us can farm? Sorry, please put down your hand first. Let me clarify. Everybody can till the ground and put seed. But the problem is, it's not just putting the seed. Is it that we can come back and harvest what you have planted? Or are you the type of person that when you plant, it usually does not turn to anything eatable? So how would you describe it? So I'm saying that to say, are your farming skills good? Can you farm? And that would help you to answer the next question, which actually says if you can grow food in bags, buckets, and the like. If you don't have land around you, are you the kind of person that you would know what to do? You could use a bottle, and yes. It's on a scale. 17A is on a scale. 17B is a yes or no thing. And you also add if you have successfully grown any specific plants or vegetables. I would like you to also give us an example of something, one or two examples of something you've grown, plants or vegetables. Like livestock farming. Awesome. Yes, now. Yes. It's a plant now. Do you eat it? Aloe vera is a plant. That's what we're saying. So that's why he's meant to answer it here. Have you ever done it? It's not. Yes, it's true. It's not that biology practical thing. So have you done it? Aloe vera is a plant. Aloe vera is a plant now. You can add it. Yes. But it's a plant. To plant aloe vera. Cut it and put it. Yes, and it will grow. Doesn't even need water as such. Yes. So if if there is famine and you have seeds to plant? You see, this question is good because you can start now and gauge yourself. There's one other one I would like to ask, just to ask. How many of us know how to fry gari? You can fry gari. Sorry, please keep the hands. Sorry, yes. Sorry, keep the hands up. Oh. Let's start scanning. Wow. So we still have some people that do not know how to do these things. In God's lighthouse and Samuel Umo in God's lighthouse, and it's being said they will announce it that people should come and they are going to the farm. Oh, you are pressing laptop. Wow. Yes, sir.
Raise this question. If you can fry gari up to 25 kg, give
No, yes, please lift your hand if you can.
Frying of gari is like
lift your hand.
Fried one pot and that's the end. 25 kg and above, lift your hand.
Let's see your hand now. Let's see your hand.
We have arrived.
Okay. Let's continue. Sorry, let's continue. Okay. Sorry. Next question, please. I think we've done this before. We've done this before. I think we've done financial life, we've done communication, we've done dressing, we've done homekeeping. So we are going to hygiene. Good. Can you describe your personal hygiene routine? Are you conscious about taking your bath at necessary times? Sorry, hold on now. Let's get the question. Are you conscious about taking your bath at necessary times? For example, when you sweat or get back from work or school. Can you describe it? So the other things you're seeing that helps you describe your personal hygiene. Are you the kind of person that when you get back from work, you just jump on your bed and you could be all sweaty, not you don't have a pleasant smell and all that, and then you just... So are you that kind of person? So say it. So I think this question, I think this part is meant to be a B because we have a C here. So when you're answering, just take note of that. On a scale of...
Yes, 1 to 10.
1 to 10.
Yes. I'm just asking, can it be?
Okay. To make it easier for... Yes, you can do a scale of 1 to 10, and then you can now answer the other part that says, are you conscious about taking your bath and all that? No, hygiene is take your bath, brush your teeth, personal hygiene, keeping yourself clean. It's personal hygiene. Yes. Personal, as it has to do with your body. Okay, so we can go on. Okay, so describe your typical routine for your socks and your shoes. How do you take care of your socks and shoes? Does your socks smell? When you get back to your house or to your room, what do? Do you air dry it? Or what do you do? Just give us a brief on how you take care of it. What's typical? What's the typical thing you do? Okay. Next question. How diligent are you about hand washing after using the restroom? And when you are back from public places? Yes, I think we should use a scale. 1 to 10. Yes, use a scale. Do you step out of the toilet, don't wash your hand, life goes on for you, you move on with it? Okay, so you scale them differently. Two. Yes. The one for the restroom, you give a scale. So you just write restroom. You put put your answer. And then returning from public places, put an answer. Next question. Is a scale. Now you just write 1, 8, 2. Don't explain anything, or 0. If you don't, 0. So next question. Are you careful about the use of your devices in the restroom, especially for the fact that it can pick up germs? Like you go to the toilet with your phone, and or you go to the toilet with your MP3 player or any other device that you have. You know that that's a heavily infested zone. So how careful are you about this? Yes, you can use a scale. Next question, please. How do you organize and maintain your toiletries? Example, tissue paper, deodorant, and soap. How do you organize them? Do you wait? So this part is linked to the first one. Do you wait till they are exhausted or they are continually restocked? Are you conscious enough to restock when the supply is low? Or you typically just allow it finish and you have to you usually get it after it's finished? Sorry, do you have a question? Okay. You have a question? Okay. How do you organize and maintain your toiletries? Example, tissue paper, deodorant, and soap. Do you wait till they are exhausted or they are continually restocked? Sorry, please pass the mic. He has a question.
So in regards to this question, does it mean, what if it's like sometimes you wait till it's finished, sometimes you restock them? What are you scaling that on?
Okay, some people don't use tissue. What would they use?
But you use soap.
Okay. Okay. So you can write it that you Okay, so you can write it that you don't use tissue paper, that you typically use water, which means tissue paper is 0 for you. Is that what you're saying? Okay, means tissue paper is 0 for you. Okay, you save the cost. Okay. Let's continue. So please give your explanations. Give your explanation, whatever you want, and all that. Let's run. What's the next question? The next question says, how often do you wash your bathtubs and toilet bowls, wash hand basins, and the walls in the bathrooms? How often do you wash your bathroom? Yes. In your house, how often do you do that in your house? I know some people stay in hostels, but how often would you do it in your house if you're in your house? How often do you do it? Okay, so if you're staying in a family house, it's someone else's responsibility. Okay, so it's an answer now. You give us an answer. Yes, give us an answer now. Give an answer. But has it ever been your duty? Okay, when it was your duty, how often were you doing it? Exactly. How often would I love to wash it? And so you see, we've asked you 3 questions. Okay, so now we move to the last one for now. Table manners. The other one is how long do you typically... sorry. How long do you typically spend in the bathroom? Simple answer now. Generally, how long do you typically spend in the bathroom? Yes, it's simple. Just put the answer. Put the time. Is a toilet in the bathroom? So add the 2 now. How long do you spend in the bathroom? Answer now. Answer. Let's run. We are pressed for time. Let's run. Just answer. Answer. Table manners. Are you careful about keeping a clean dining area? So, if you've never used a dining area, you can say no. I don't even use. You can't say it there. Remember that pastor had talked about cutlery, how to use cutlery, and this table manners is important because it is linked to that. So are you careful about keeping a clean dining area? Question number 2. Do you know how to use the cutlery? Answer, so that when you are attending the class on Saturday, you would learn practically how to use these things. Number 3. Do you talk while eating? Do you talk while eating? Do you eat with your mouth open? So answer now. Give us an answer. We're looking for an answer. Put it in your book. Mm-hmm. So give us the answer in your booklet. Write the answer. Write the answer in your book. Write that thing you're saying in your book. Write it.
So when you're eating with brethren or someone else, I'm not, like, they might consider it rude if you're not talking with them, especially maybe there.
So you just say you don't talk while eating.
Okay.
You don't talk while eating. So do you eat with food with your mouth open?
Sir.
People do it now. People eat with their mouth open. As they are chewing, they are opening their mouth. And all that. That's yes. People do it.
Sir.
So
please,
aside answering the question,
Yes.
the matter of talking while eating. Growing up, we were taught in school, table manners, don't talk when you are eating.
Yes.
But bringing it down to real life, like situations, it's, I don't know, it's kind of unreal. Reason being that, most families get to bond and talk while eating. Like, that's literally the only time that families get to, discuss and just while they are eating.
Yeah.
So, what we were later taught, the adjustments we had later on, that the thing is we should not talk with food in our mouth. Not that talking while eating is a taboo.
So that's what we're saying.
Generally.
You write what you've said. Write what you know.
I wasn't just talking about answering the question, just the concept of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go to the last one. How long do you spend eating a meal? How long do you spend eating a meal? So if it depends on how sweet the meal is, you write, you explain to us. So I hope everyone has answered this question. I hope you've answered this last question. Okay, so we are going to listen to a word that a prophetic word that we received some time ago. Please pay attention to this word because it has to do with it addresses what we are dealing with at the moment. Okay, so Mr. Brownson.
This word was gotten on 14th December 2023 by one of the team members. I'm going to read it very slow. GMC. I'll read it very slow, so please pay attention. Now, some parts comes with heading, okay? Empty cans. If you can remember, before Pastor left, Pastor mentioned something about empty cans. Tagged empty cans. When you ask me to prepare them, what do they have to carry? What is to be poured out to them? Is it just to pour out wisdom? Remember, Pastor have addressed this particular point. Pastor have taught us so many things, the spiritual side, a lot of wisdom. Now, this is the practical part of it. Okay, so take the next part here is empty stands. These stands are supposed to hold the basin to receive water for the dry days. Water for the dry days 3 times. I see people casually bring 2 bowls. That is if you even see 2. The bowls were made for a season, for a reason. When they go into the desert, may they not ask, where is water? Laughs. I pour things out in their own seasons. The rain has its seasons. When they will not grow root, how will they receive water in the dry days? The facilities. I see men with traveling bags. They are ready to go on a journey. Is it just for a few days? The facilities. Check your list. Are you sure you have the things you need? The journey has just begun. It's to go to the mountain that I will show to you. I want you to note down the instructions. You are to go to the mountains I show to you. Do not attempt to sacrifice Isaac on any other mountain. It is to lay down their lives. But my people, many of them, they do not have the facilities. So how will they raise their homes? Remember, this is addressing men from this prophetic word. I told you I want to use your homes. But what if the people in them are not ready? It is when I think or even consider that you have started. It is when you have put on your boots. Who do you think I want to give to you to take on a journey on your own? 3 men who think they are ready. Can you keep your bags for a check? You have to find out what is their peculiar calling so that you will pack according to the calling. Now this is the Lord addressing James there. Some are to hike to the mountain. Hiking without a bicycle. You want to trek? You don't receive people I brought to prepare. Men I brought to prepare. See men. That is addressing James about our brothers. Do they think I just want them to suffer? They are not ready to receive. They are not listening. They are not hearing. So they will not enter into their calling. They will not ask for their cars to be packed so they don't have what to take on this journey. It is not by having a backpack on, because having that will look as if you are ready. Everyone is not walking up the mountain. They are not receiving any spouse for now. They are not ready. These people are not ready. When they can't even come, they are just bachelors. They have not begun the journey. How can I give them a helpmate? Helpmate for what? Helpmate for what? Time is going. I have started taking some of you closer for this task. Your men need to humble themselves and prepare. I see their hearts. I see their readiness. I see their thoughts. Oh Lord, when will you give me? When will you give my own woman to me? When? Have you heard what you are to do? Do you know what you are to do? The journey is far. If you do not have your tank of water, do not say, why did the Lord send me on this journey? I have only given you a clue of what I want for a marriage. I have even told you the things to pack and prepare. Ask them, are you ready? Like we are to ask you if you are ready. What do you want to start? What do you want to start a family for? Is it for a name? You won't give them water to drink? If you do not give your own children water to drink, what will you give others? I hope we know what that water stands for. I need men of strength, men that will climb the mountain and come to where I am because they know the path that leads to it. Men that can hear and follow. Men that can hear and follow. I will expose aspects so that people can understand where they are and what is speaking through them, if it is actually the Lord impressing it upon their hearts that they should move. Come and put your hands in mine. Let me take you on a journey so I can place you in the home you should be. Come, let me take you on a journey. Then you will have peace. Then there will be no regret. Follow me. song. He will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. God will do a new thing, and your sorrow will turn to joy. Of course, that is part of the thing Pastor shared yesterday about wilderness, how the Lord will actually take us through wilderness. Is one of the ways He trains His men. So as you are coming out from Egypt, He takes you, as you are coming out from your father's home, He takes you through wilderness, like what we saw in Jacob's life, how long he served, that period that he have to suffer and went through all that. Back to the word. You have heard how dry places can become springs of water. Do not walk by sight. When I take you into the wilderness, there is water in it. Can you trust me? Can you trust me? One of the issues that men usually have is trusting the Lord, because in taking you through wilderness, He will actually take you through wilderness. And if you trust the Lord, like what we heard yesterday, definitely you will have peace at the end of the day. Don't do things where you regret or feel embarrassed at the end of the day. Because when you worry and you think that you are going to die, some people actually die in that wilderness because they try to turn the wilderness to their promised land. As we heard yesterday, you are not supposed, or some people complain. Majority of them complained that it's better to stay in Egypt than to come here. No, we have to trust the Lord. I am still the Lord, even in dry places. I will bring water for my people to drink. So this last part is the Lord encouraging us. Now, we've heard how we are not prepared. Sometimes we might look prepared. You have your knapsack there, and we're looking at you, think that you are prepared, whereas you are not. So you know yourself, you know the areas. You've heard Pastor. Now we are doing the practical part of it. So as this meeting is going on, and these things that you are answering, it's a big deal. It's something that some of you, it's an eye-opener for you. You're like, wow, so this supposed to be. So I'm not doing well in this area and all of that. It's something you can work on. So don't be afraid. You have to change your thinking about so many things so the Lord can even prepare you, because sometimes your mindset can even restrict your progress. You can't even see it, and then you can't make progress. So I believe that I didn't see some people taking notes while I was reading this word. It's very important. This is the Lord addressing you directly. Because GMC, part of their major job is to prepare our people for marriage. Okay, so that was why the Lord spoke to us and said all of these things, because we ask and then He gave an answer. So you know yourself, you know how some of you think you have time, like Pastor have said. Some of you don't have time. You won't believe it, but you should believe it. You should trust the Lord. So prepare as much as you can. So I don't know if you have question concerning this particular word. The date, 14th December 2023, in one of the GMC meeting. The men's group, okay. Think we'll look into that. Any other question? God's Lighthouse Marriage Committee, GMC. God's Lighthouse Marriage Committee, GMC. Any other question? Yes, that's what Shibuzo ask. So we are going to consider that. So I think looking at these words, and it will be nice that you go back and even listen to yesterday's message again. And then you will see in line with this word that there are a lot of things that you still need to do. And then you can draw strength. And then you have, so if there are things that you didn't hear that yesterday, you can now hear it better, and even with from the understanding of this word. So we are going to share the word, okay, later on Men of Zion's group. How many of you here are not on Men of Zion? Anybody? Okay, so you have a shepherd, you talk to your shepherd. So maybe we will put it on that group.
Okay, so for these words, I believe that God is using these meetings to prepare us. I know you've heard the words, you've heard there have been pointers, and there are various things that have been highlighted. Humility, preparation. You can see the heading. God is preparing us here to be good husbands. And this is in line with this word. So one more, when we started in the morning, earlier today, I had asked that people should ask questions. And since we have gone through and done all, we've finished the questionnaire. We would like to hear, remember we said we also want to hear from you. We'd like to hear your questions. Do you have any questions that you would like to ask concerning things that have been asked? Pastor even talked about questions before he stepped up. Yeah. Are there things that you would like to ask? Things that you would like? Sorry, there are two hands there. There's one at the back. Please, can you move away from the pillar a bit so that we can see you? Okay. Maybe you could stand somewhere here so we can see you.
What if what if the couple, both sides, the male and the female, or the husband and the wife, rather, are both working and earning, and the female consistently asks the male for financial, like things like transport, and both of them know that, like, we are both earning. Is it right to, to tell your wife, like, come, you're earning also, you don't need to ask me for some basic things? Like, the man is already taking care of most of the amenities, like, let me say, school fees and other needs. So, and the woman, basically, it's not her official duty to take responsible of the school fees and other things. So is it right for the man to, like, okay, you are also earning, you can take care of some of your basic things? That's my question.
So is it right, your question is it right for the man to deflect some of the bills to the woman? Okay. Her personal what? Sorry, say that again. Her personal.
Example of the bill is like transport to a place, yeah, fare. So although she's earning and she's not taking care of school fees, she still come and ask for things like fare to a certain place.
Okay, so she's asking the man for transport. She's working. She's earning money, and she's.
So is it right for the man to like tell her to? You can sort that yourself. Don't ask me for certain things while you are earning or something.
Okay. Does the man, just a question to clarify what you are saying, does the man give something like an upkeep?
Man takes care of upkeep for the wife.
Okay, so that's a good question. And it's nice. Remember, we are going to answer Pastor is going to answer questions tomorrow. So feel free to ask. It's a good question. We'll note it down. I saw another hand at the back.
Okay, I want to add to his question. I had that in mind to ask because there are times when the couple, both of them are working.
Yeah.
And and then the man expects that there are certain things. Now, I know that I have a different disposition to that. I'm just asking because it might be in some people's minds of she should be given a certain amount compulsorily, being that both of them are working. So is that a right mindset to have as a man? Then, this is actually my core question. So there are some of us who are not given to visions, dreams as much. Yes. So, and a lot of people who've spoken about marriage and finding the one have always made it seem like you have to see her in a vision, or you have to have heard there's this name or something. So where does that leave us who do not see visions like that? Because I'm saying this because, okay, I think I've hit the nail on the head. So how can you say one can be led who is not? Okay, let me give an example. Most of the things in my life personally, I have come to know as I live. So I find out that, okay, I was meant to go to this school. As I lived through it, I've meant to, most of those things like that. I didn't essentially see a vision about the school or about that. So typically, as you've walked through life, how do you come to the place where you know that, okay, this is the person? Yeah.
So just a little comment on that. You said there have been many things in your life that the school you went to, you didn't see it in a vision. You prayed about it, right? And you were led. Okay, so the basic thing there is that you prayed. Okay, and it's been emphasized in this house. You've been told to pray. Basically, I just want to throw it out to you that's going to depend on just, I am seeing a vision. The way you asked your question, you had the way you asked. It's fine. It's not breaking. The way you asked your question, you had said that that you're not given to visions. So why are you expecting that you should see a vision? Why not pray and trust God to lead you? But basically, remember, we are here to prepare you. So these preparations will help you as you get to find who you're looking for. Please, I also want to throw in something. As we're asking these questions, remember that yesterday we had a teaching, an exhortation. So I would also encourage us to ask these questions in line with what these meetings are for. Pastor has shared yesterday, gave us an exhortation yesterday, has given us an exhortation today. So I would also just like to encourage us to ask questions. There are things, when Pastor was teaching here, he talked about the difficulties, the challenges, the things about becoming a good husband. So bear this in mind as you're asking these questions. You're trying to know how would you be a good husband. The program is to prepare you so that you can be a good husband. You've heard the word, you've heard what Pastor has said, and you've seen the questionnaires we've shared, So I saw 2 hands there.
I'm not asking a new question. I'm only qualifying what I asked.
Okay.
Why I'm saying this is because sometimes we don't know. The Bible says the heart is deceitful and desperately wicked. Who can? Sometimes we don't know the underlying reason why people don't apply themselves to do certain things. So I know that we are talking about learning how to screw this and knock that. And it's awesome. Trust me. But sometimes the mind at the back of the mind is saying, how am I even sure that this person I'm even getting is real? In fact, let's leave all these things. Why do I apply myself to these things if at the end of the day, in fact, some people, see, let me tell you the truth. I remember when I was in IK house, I said I want to be a eunuch. I just want to be a Paul. Because I thought of the uncertainty of, you are praying, you are, all this thing, it's not like you are getting anything. Now I thought there's the time. Hello? Okay.
Yes.
Now I know that there's the timing factor where it's not time. Yes. But I know that there's also the other part where it's time. Or a lot of people feeling that since I don't kind of get anything, why should I apply myself to do all these things? To what end? At the end of the day, am I even sure I'm even going to get married? So that's why I'm asking.
My question is this. Can you hear me? My question is still someone in line with his own. Because I grew up like seeing that some women, I said some are kind of, when they see their husband around them, they'll be kind of lazy and then sir, and I'm actually asking because is it bad if as a man you and like I and my wife now kind of share the responsibility that I'll pay the children's school fees and you bring money for feeding? If it's bad, if it's bad that I could share the responsibility between ourselves since it's our duty to take care of the family.
Okay, so let's just run it like that. The next hand, ask your question. We are taking notes of these questions. So.
Okay, sir, mine is not a question. I just want to add up, then I'll address that issue. Now, if we are to go by, let me start with him. If we are to go by scriptures, Genesis 2, you see the man's role. The man's role is to provide. Now, first of all, you need to put yourself in a place to provide. Let it be that you've done everything possible to provide and you can't provide. Let it not be that you already have a mindset that I will bring this percentage, you bring that percentage. At that level, you've pulled out a wall and you will not be able to provide. Let it be that you've done everything in your power. You've gone out, you've worked, you've applied yourself, your skills, everything, and you're not getting enough. Then you can now think of, if you have, can you support in this angle? Remember, it's a support system. It's not a sheer formula. The person is supposed to come and help. Some come to support what you're already unable to do. Not that you've put your place in a place where you don't want to do anything and you want this person to come and be of help to you. Do you understand me? I remember one time Pastor had said something. He said, you don't learn to hear God when you want to marry. There must have been a pattern. It must have been that you've been hearing God in many other things. And like me, I don't see visions, I don't see anything, but I'll tell you, while I was praying, the Holy Spirit led this. I've gone to speak with, okay, let me cite an example. There's somebody I went to evangelize recently. And while I was out for the evangelism, early that morning, I woke up reading either John 4. And then I read Matthew 13. Now, when I read that scriptures, I was with Savior in the room. I asked Savior, I said, why am I reading these things? What does it even mean? And the story in John 4 talked about when Jesus sent his disciples to go buy bread, and he was with the woman in the well. And he asked the woman the question, how many husbands do you have? So, I went out that morning, that afternoon. I think I was with you when we went to meet Bernard, and I was telling Mr. Ebon, oh, I have somebody I need to see for a business meet. But when I went to meet that person, I found myself started talking about sharing my life testimony. Then I now asked the person, I said, what's your experience like? The person tell me, I don't have experience. So I've not had a boyfriend. I've not had anything. Then we started talking. Then she started telling me, I have one boyfriend. He's in a back road. I have another one. He's in 4 lane. I have this other one. He's here. I have this other one. And I told her, I said, when she started talking, I said, wait. So you're the reason why I studied John 4 this morning. What kind of thing? I now started talking about the experience. So I was pondering on that thing. And in my head, I'm like, woman with many husbands, and she had many boyfriends. Like when I mean many boyfriends, not like she had one that she had stopped talking to. Active, plenty. Active. Then she told me she did not have none. Do you understand me? Now there must have been a pattern. I don't. You see my dreams. My dreams are like movie, very active. I can be in a dream and I'll come out of that dream, and the things I saw in that dream is playing out. So I know, these things I saw, this is it. Now I don't expect to be a brother Michael or a brother Salvation. I expect to sit down broad daylight and see a clear vision, because that's not how God talks to me. Do you understand me? If God wants to talk to me about the thing, He will bring it in the pattern to which He has been. Okay, let's do a case study on the life of Joseph or of Jacob. You see, there's a pattern on his way out and his way in. There was a pattern to which God was talking to him about. So I'm trying to put that across. There's no, God is not talking to me. You should talk to me. How has God been speaking to you from the start? It's not going to be now that you start hearing God.
Okay. Thank you very much for that expose. I saw a hand. There is a hand here, or there are 2 people here.
Please, in light to what
are you asking a question, or you want to explain something?
A question. When he was asking this question, he was like, what do you want? Like, if it is right to allow the woman handle some basic needs, why with the knowledge that you are doing other things. So I'd like to know if yes, or whatever answer. I'd like to understand that quote.
Ask your question again. Just ask the question again. Go straight to the point and ask.
So the thing is, that word there, basic. I don't. He kept using that word basic. So if you'd like
basic what?
Basic needs, like for the feminine. I would like to know what that is about. So and another question is, growing up, I always saw a Christian and a Muslim marrying together. Like I want to know if that is not that I plan on doing. Why are you looking at me like that?
Go straight to the point.
Not that I plan on doing so. You get my point. So I won't lie. Sometimes I've had some.
It's okay. Your question is is noted.
Okay. Yes,
basic needs. Just to explain it to you. Basic needs. What are your basic needs? Food, water, clothing, house needs, rent, school fees. Just based on what his question. That's basic needs. Right? That's basic needs. Any other person wants to ask a question? How many? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we take 5 of you and then we are done.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Okay. My question is
go ahead. Go ask your question, sir.
How in terms of before getting married, is it must or necessary that one must be financially buoyant, like financially free, before you start talking about marriage?
Okay. Next person. Please pass the mic.
I have 2 questions. How do you talk to an older sibling, not spiritually older, physically older sibling or person, about personal hygiene, who has heard the things you're hearing but is not practicing it? Now, you're recognizing the fact that he's your senior and you're worried, but it's an uncomfortable situation. How do you talk to the person, about their hygiene, who has heard the things you're hearing as well? Second question, How do you combine the type of hard work pastor talks about and not be money driven? Because many a times the drive many people have that pushes them is the drive for money, and a number of us have been freed of such drive. So we don't know how to rouse ourselves and push that far the way pastor talks about, and money is not the driving force. How else can we drive ourselves to be very hardworking and not love money?
There were 5 hands, so
based on the question that they are asking, I'm kind of confused.
ask your question. Ask your question.
Couples not bring their money together. Find out the family.
Okay, thank you. The next person, there are two people, and then we wrap up there.
Okay. Basically, based on this we're having right now, I know it has to do with us.
So please, can you face the camera?
Okay. It has to do with us, how to develop ourselves. And my question is, Pastor, I've been talking about the neural pathway, how to develop, a new pattern. Okay, when you discover what is right, how you can practically develop it. And one of the things I really see in relationship is a man losing his place as a leader. A man losing his place. If you've lost your place as a leader in the family, how can you restart it and step up your game that your woman will follow? Most of the questions you will ask about, my wife have money and will not want to, it's a matter of losing communication, losing, basic things are not just there, communication and stuff. That's one. Number two, like we've come before now, we have what we are used to. There's what we grow up with, and we are coming to learn new things. How do you integrate this that a woman just staying with maybe is not here to understand you?
Okay, thank you. So the last question, please pass the mic to our brother there.
So concerning the questionnaire, I was so I think that we didn't ask anything about maybe under homekeeping, ability to go to the market and buy stuff for the kitchen. Things I think is an important thing that should be assessed.
Should be assessed. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so all these questions will be answered tomorrow. Remember, the pastor had said that tomorrow we'll be answering of questions and then we pray. Bring more questions. Think about what has been said since yesterday and today. Bring the questions. Pray about tomorrow. Pray and ask the Lord, And tomorrow, pastor will be here. So let's pray. Let's rise as we pray. Father, we thank you for today's meeting. Thank you for having taught us. Thank you for your love and your kindness towards us. Lord, we are grateful. We are grateful that you would remember us and you would decide to prepare our brethren. We are grateful, O God, in the name of Jesus. We ask, O Lord, that these things that we have learned, we would not just learn it, but we would learn it and walk towards becoming better men. We would walk towards preparing just like you have said we should. That we would not come with empty cans, but that we will be prepared, O God, in the name of Jesus. Help us, Lord. Help us, Lord, O God, to understand these things that are being taught, to put it into practice even before time. In Jesus' name we pray. As we return, O God, as we go home, Lord, we pray that you take us safely home. Bring us tomorrow safely. In the name of Jesus. Amen.